races to go. The playoffs begin now. It's time to bring the action. Atlanta Motor Speedway, let's go! And McDowell has got his front row motorsports teammate Todd Gilliland tucked in nice and tight behind on the low line. Almost a repeat of 2 races ago at Daytona. Berry up high, that purple car, third in line, number 4. McDowell, Blaney, Berry, Gilliland, and the 5 of Kyle Larson.
Keep in mind, this is the first time race cars have been on track other than by themselves, so they really don't know how their cars are going to handle, Steve.
Well, McDowell out front has to feel good with all that clean air. I think it's no different for Blaney right here off his rear bumper. It's the cars back in 10th, 15th, 20th, all the dirty air and really half the real estate.
Michael McDowell told me last night, I'm thrilled to have won the pole again. But Diff, I just want to get to the checkered flag. I've been running at the front. I've had a fast forward, but I've been denied that opportunity.
Well, you mentioned checkered flag, the first stage, only 60 laps. They can run the entire 60 laps on their tank of Sunoco fuel. So all of this kind of posturing you see right here for position, no guaranteed breaks, no guaranteed pit stops. This could run start to finish.
See Todd Gilliland jumping in front of Logano. He was on that bottom lane all by himself. Was starting to lose track position, had to fill that hole.
24 of Byron, that black and white car on the bottom, jumps out of line. It works in the corner when it's a shorter distance, but on the straightaway, the draft is more dominant. He finds a lane to get back up top.
Ty Gibbs has made up 6 early positions, Truex as well. Of course, they were starting at the back after that unapproved change, but that was precautionary. Those plug wire problems that Denny Hamlin experienced and the other JGR Toyotas decided to do the same. McDowell led 27 laps here, Jeff, earlier in the year when this was just the second round of the season. Finished in the top 10. Wants to drive this home today.
Exactly, and as much as we talk about the playoffs and this championship battle side by side here, there's a lot of guys in this field. The majority of them aren't in the playoffs. And winning a race means a season changing, maybe a career changing. So they're not going to change the way they race just because they're not in the playoffs.
Nice efficient work from Kyle Larson as he's sneaking his way closer to Team Penske's Ryan Blaney. The 5 runs third. Austin Dillon nicely placed in the top 5. Here comes Brad Keselowski on the inside, and that was a nice straightforward move as well. The only RFK racing Ford in the playoffs.
Yeah, different look for RFK. They were fortunate to get 2 in a year ago. Chris Buescher right there in that blue and black 17, 2 cars behind his owner and teammate, was unable to make the playoffs this year. He was in the fight to the bitter end, though. Had a chance at Darlington, but Chase Briscoe's win kind of changed the entire complexion.
I feel like that 10 car on the bottom, he was struggling a little bit. Everybody trying to get by him. See how orderly it is in that first 10 or 12. They're all single file. The battle rages back here.
See that move right there. It looked like a little bit of contact between spring race Atlanta winner, the 99 of Suarez, and the 41 of Priest.
There's Tyler Reddick on the high line there. Regular season champ. There he is. It was excruciating last week, those stomach issues he had. And he was preventing himself from vomiting in his helmet. He said it was so difficult. I had stomach cramps. He said it didn't alleviate until the early hours of the morning. He said it was one of the toughest things I've gone through while driving to the regular season title. Corey LaJoie in the 7, the Gainbridge machine on the low line.
So let's see what happens with Corey right here. He turned left, get underneath Haley. So the 19 of Truex, he saw that. He jumped on the outside of him. Now everybody trying to line up and make him pay for making that move. Another side-by-side battle on the top for 5th. The danger of making the move is that it doesn't work out and you lose a lot of spots. And that's what all these drivers are learning right now. Can I make a move and will it work out?
Hunt Brothers Pizza brings us this view of Joey Logano. The 3 of us spoke to Joey earlier this week. He was very measured. He was very confident. Been here, and Paul Wolf, his crew chief, said Joey is a big moment, big pressure, big occasion driver. He actually goes better the higher the pressure is.
Well, they've been very consistent with that experience speech. That's what he said this week. That's the pep talk we heard on the radio just 10 laps ago. He feels like his team, top to bottom, even the mechanics, pit crew, everyone has been here. Who else is here is all of Joey Logano's teammates. Right behind him, the two, that bright yellow Menards Ford of Austin Cindric.
This reminds me of a Daytona race in the 90s. You're not side by side, three wide. The cars aren't driving quite good enough to do that. You see Harrison Burton trying to make a move under William Byron. So what happens if he doesn't make this move? Can he slide up behind him? If not, they're going to line up on him, and he's going to lose a ton of spots.
Harrison qualified well. He was on the 6th row in 12th position yesterday. Now, Alex Bowman has a look on the inside in the Ally 48. They run side by side. Earlier this year, at times there were 3, and a couple of times they were 4 wide here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Ross Chastain lining up for a shot as well in that all-blue number 1 for Trackhouse.
The 24 car Byron had a little bit of an issue off turn 4. Looked like he got loose, lost a little bit of pace. Now Bowman's going to try to slide up in front. There's room to do it. I tell you, that one car, Chastain, that blue car, he looks racy.
And Daniel Hemrick starting to make in some good inroads as well. There's Chase Briscoe in the 14, the Mahindra Tractors Ford, and he said, you know what? The way that these tracks are scheduled, in my opinion, they lay out really nicely for me. There is confidence in abundance with the Darlington winner.
William Byron pops out of line. That's really the move that I think is most comfortable. The shape of this front stretch being the D, when you get to the second half of the D, the natural lane is kind of up. And if you think you can pull out a line, you really just turn left and take the shortcut right to turn 1.
Todd Gilliland on the inside of Austin Dillon. Now Austin comes back on that high side.
I tell you, there's some bad handling cars out there right now. There's some guys just hanging on.
Let's go for a ride with Chase Elliott. Let's have a listen, thanks to Coca-Cola.
2 back. Nothing to you there, side draft and 2 back. Door, still door. 23, your lane. Still out there. This is going to be your call. Still out there, still there. 23 still rides 2 back.
Two things I noticed: part throttle in the corners, definitely out of the gas a little bit, and then the spotter. I love the quote, "Your call." We talk a lot about the responsibility of the spotters. Jeff, you were just up there. Trey Poole clearly on the radio, not trying to drive the car. He's letting you know it's your call, giving the information to Chase, but giving Chase the leeway to do what he thinks he needs.
Yeah, I think that's a smart. If you can't see it and coming off turn 4 is where it's the most difficult to see, you have to let them know. I think you're clear, but it's going to have to be your call.
There you go on the left. The left, that's TJ Major, spotter for Brad Keselowski. On the right, that's a spotter for Joey Logano, Coleman Presley.
William Byron gets on the inside of Austin Cindric, tucked in right behind Joey Logano. It's Michael McDowell, the pole man, leading the way. You're watching the NASCAR playoffs presented by Applebee's. Did you know you can sign up for the NASCAR newsletter and stay up to speed on all the latest from the track and get your chance to win 2 tickets to a 2025 race of your choice? Scan the QR code that's on your screen and visit NASCAR.com/race ticket promo. Welcome back to the Quaker State 400. On board Joey Logano, and it has been action-packed. There are moves being made everywhere, and look at this for an anxious ride for the Darlington winner, Chase Briscoe. Cindric on the high line, Logano on the low line.
Yeah. Woo. And when your car's driving bad, you got this many cars around you, pulls the air off your car, makes it drive even that much worse.
Well, you know who's driving great at the moment is the 48 of Alex Bowman. He has surged his way forward. There he is. He's the 6th car in shot. He's trying to make a move on the inside of Joey Logano.
And that's what he is so good at. You talk about how good it's driving. He puts that left front right on that white and red line and wraps the bottom of 3 and 4. Once again, not a lot of draft down the straightaway, but look how close he is. He'll go down here to the bottom of 1 and 2. And you almost saw the wiggle out of that 22 right in front of him. The 48 will put it right on the left rear quarter panel.
Well, 25 smooth laps in stark contrast to the February race where there was a huge wreck on lap 2. Let's lay out, let's have a listen, go for a ride.
Byron on the paint. Paint looks powerful here. We're by 1 in front. Austin is clear behind. Austin is clear. Austin is clear. Lower, lower, half lower. Gonna get inside of you. Inside. Paint is powerful here in 3 and 4. Still inside. Bumper. Bumper. Barely Austin. Barely Austin. Still there. Still there. Still there. Clear. In line to you. He is clear. He is clear. Going higher. Byron's coming to you. Outside bumper. Outside Austin. Outside Austin. By himself. All alone. Gaps 1 behind. 3/4 behind. 3/4 behind.
Cool to take that ride and that listen.
Unbelievable how they go from just looking to picking up the binoculars and being able to find their car right away.
Paint is powerful. What does that mean? The left side, you can get your left side tires on that red and white line. This racetrack has always been like that. Atlanta, get your left front right on it, and it helps make the car turn. It actually makes more grip right there. That was the information going to the driver.
Marty, what you got?
Well, you could also hear Coleman Presley, including Austin, in that conversation. That's Austin Cindric, Joey Logano's teammate, right in front of him in that yellow car right there. And Steve, you brought up a great point. Team Penske really works well together. In fact, they were really the only group in the spring here at Atlanta that could make drafting together work well. Jeff, the drivers will all tell you it's harder to do at Atlanta than it is at Daytona and Talladega. Find a partner and make it work all day long. Why is that the case?
Because it's harder to get your car to drive well here than Daytona and Talladega. So the speeds are different. They all look like they're running the same pace, but one guy's having to lift more than the other in different places on the racetrack. So it's just hard to get to someone's rear bumper. And if you get to that rear bumper with a big move right here, you can't push them like you can at Daytona and Talladega. The radiuses of the corner are so much tighter here. If you push in the corner, you can actually spin the guy out.
I look at it like racing at 180 miles an hour at Talladega is kind of like going down a 5-lane interstate. Running 180 miles an hour as we see Blaney get by McDowell for the lead pretty easily. Just turn left. 180 miles an hour here is more like driving through your neighborhood. If it's condensed, there's just not as much space. It even seems faster.
First time we've seen somebody else up front other than Michael McDowell. Here comes that 48 machine of Alex Bowman again. Larson down low. Here comes Cindric in the 2. We've got some movement after 30 laps here in the Quaker State 400.
At 34, McDowell drove right to the rear bumper of Blaney and out of the track. The car looked very loose. Larson now attacking Blaney.
What a race.
Good stuff. This is awesome. Super close. Blaney, Larson, and teammates working together here as Cindric pushes Blaney ahead.
What a shot. 2 car to the back of the 12.
McDowell works side by side with Bowman. Logano's looking to get a run. Watch the 22 on that low side.
And now that that 34 car, McDowell, has lost the lead, his car is going to drive much worse back here in traffic. Sat on the pole, we wondered how his car would drive because it's a trade-off, Steve, between a good handling car and a car that will go fast by itself.
Now, while all this is happening up front, If you're a 19 fan, Martin Truex Jr., your guy has made up 21 positions. .24 laps, 23 laps make it now to go in stage one. This has been a clean, swift start to the Quaker State 400 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You'll see every green flag lap live as we race our way into the playoffs. And a reminder that this week on DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers can bet $5 and pocket $250 in bonus bets instantly to use on any sport, whether it's this race or tonight's Sunday night football game. Download the app, use the promo code SPEED when you sign up, and good luck. Stevie, let's take a look at some numbers. Who's got your eye?
Well, the chaos in racing has the odds makers in a little bit of chaos as well. Blaney, the favorite at 8-1, currently leading live. But then look at 10, 12-1, pretty even through the field. Busch, Keselowski, Logano. They like those Fords of Logano and McDowell. Hamlin still getting respect at 16-1, even though he's kind of riding around in 35th, biding his time.
What about Cindric, who runs second at the moment, and the guy he runs second with, they're plus 1,600.
Yeah, what about Ty Gibbs? He's back there. He's picked up 18 spots. He is using the top of this racetrack. He is making ground, just up there, able to stay in the throttle. Not really drafting anybody, just making time on the outside along with his teammate Truex.
They've made up 21 and 20 positions respectively from the back of the pack. So that begs the question, what's their teammate Denny Hamlin doing, Steve?
Well, he's struggling at the moment, back in 35th. So I'm not sure if this is by design, trying to avoid the chaos, or ill handling. When I look at the radio comments, there's a very free issue for the 11. He doesn't like the balance of his race car. I can't believe that's causing this much of a deficit on speed, 8 seconds back. Dave, you think Hamlin's just riding, or is it a balance issue?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both, because you wouldn't go forward with a race car that operates like his is right now. You're absolutely right. Free on the radio. I mean, choppy free. He was not happy with the handling of this race car. Now, if you're Chris Gabehart, Steve, and you do get that chance to pit, what would you do for him? Would you do something as risky as a no tire change stop and try to leapfrog him forward? But a lot of guys are going to be thinking that too for this first stop.
Well, with 60 laps burned of an 80-lap gas tank, I think you're absolutely going to take tires, because it takes that much time to put fuel in the race car. The question is, can he save enough gas where some of the leaders maybe have to wait on fuel, where Hamlin can try to leapfrog some, but from 35th, you're only going to maybe gain 5 or 7 spots. You're not going to be able to make a huge jump.
It is Hendrick Motorsports and Team Penske at the front of this pack. On the left of your screen, on the graphic, the yellow underlining of names, that designates the playoff drivers. As Larson goes high, Blaney continues to lead. That means that Ryan Blaney has led 6 times since the reconfiguration of the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Look at this! Teammates working together. You got the 3 Hendrick cars on the top, the 3 Team Penske cars on the bottom.
Only 18 to go in this stage, coming to 17 to go.
It's flown by.
Yes, trying to get points.
You see all those yellow windshield banners and yellow spoilers. That's just a great reference of who's in the playoffs and who isn't.
Ross Chastain, in the one who came so close to making the playoffs, is putting on a terrific show here, and Ross has advanced himself 14 positions since the drop of the green.
Blaney told us this week that he thought the best way to avoid an accident was to run in the front 2 lanes. Well, he has stuck to that strategy. Great qualifying out of the 12th car. Blaney got by McDowell, and he's led ever since. Currently has led 15 laps.
What's going to be interesting right now is they're getting side by side about 3 or 4 rows deep. So before you were afraid to make a move on the bottom, but now I think you can be more aggressive with it.
And entering the picture, bottom right, is the 9 of Chase Elliott. Here he is. Let's go for a ride. The Coke on board.
Still there, quarter. 24 is 1 back watching.
By the way, the design of the 9 this weekend, the uniform, everything on his car was designed by 2 Children's Healthcare of Atlanta patients, Gavin and Logan, as part of Chase Elliott's foundation Design to Drive program. Chase said he loves it. They've done a terrific job, and for a very worthy cause.
It's a great looking paint scheme. We watch him steer and we hear him lift. Well, check out over here, looking at the right foot of Chase Elliott, the left foot riding on the brake, so left foot brake. His foot's right there, but not pressing. As he goes down in the corner, you'll see off the throttle. Maybe just tap the brake back to wide open gas. You can see the steering column, which is that Coke decal right above his toes. Jeff, I know they talk a lot about handling, but he was out of the gas. There you go. That's just rolling out of the gas, I think, just not to get a run in the wrong spot, right? Just trying to time his run.
That's corner entry, so I think he actually would have wanted that run, because you see what he's doing now. He's driving underneath his teammate. If he could, he's lifting early to be able to go back to the throttle to carry speed on corner exit. He's driving it just like any other racetrack.
Let's talk more about Chase Elliott. Here's Marty.
Stage 1 not even complete, Diff, and already Chase Elliott has learned quite a bit about how the track is developing. Listen in.
Yeah, you're going to have to help me, because whoever can move up basically could drive to the field. I mean, you can drive all the way through it. Nobody can move up because they're all sideways.
Boy, Steve, it's clear handling is becoming a big issue for a lot of cars in the second half of this run. But if you're Alan Gustafson and you have that information from Chase Elliott, where do you go with it?
Well, you can absolutely tighten up the race car, go to a tighter balance as he gives a big shove to his teammate in the 48. Remember, no practice, as Jeff pointed out. No cars on track together, just 1 lap of qualifying. What I love if I'm Alan Gustafson is 50 laps in, I now have a goal. My driver needs to be a little tighter balance-wise so he can run the top of the racetrack.
The driver from Dawsonville, Georgia, about 2 hours north of where we are, is having a good early stage 1 run. 7 laps to go in stage 1. Ryan Blaney, who has led 24, now make it 25 laps in the Quaker State 400, leads his teammate Austin Cindric. But going the other direction, going the wrong way, is Brad Keselowski. Let's find out more with Kim.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski mired back in the 25th position. This is not a product of strategy. This is an ill-handling race car. Take a listen to what Brad said.
Need to be more versatile with the lanes, so I can't run up at all. It gets loose in. Doesn't turn the center and gets really loose off as I move up. Does the same thing on the bottom, just not as bad.
The team cheerleading their driver, saying, we understand we'll make big changes when you come in at the next stop.
That's very clear information about.
Whoa! That's a huge one for Larson! That car just snapped on him and went straight into the wall.
Hold on to it, hold on. Yeah, I don't know if I blew a tire or what.
That just snapped in a split second.
Yeah.
You heard Kyle on the radio, so I don't know if I blew a tire or what. Cliff Daniels has a look of concern on his face, and understandably so. That was purely violent. And thankfully, Kyle is out of the car.
See, he's in the corner. Everything looks normal. Back end comes around, and then it went to the right. Now, it appears to me, oh, who hit him? Who was that got it? That's Briscoe. 2 playoff drivers. So that's one of 2 things. So watch this thing. The back end starts around first, and when it starts around, he overcorrects it. And that is that is very easy to do in this race car.
Just listen.
Oh.
So he mentions whether he blows a tire. I was wondering right front, but right there, it's clear it gets loose. Kyle Larson knows that as well. So I wonder if he's wondering if the right rear tire started to go down, which is what made the car loose. Kyle obviously has a clear understanding that it was the back first, and then it turns right. And then this big hit by the 14. You mentioned it, Diff. So good to see Kyle Larson out of the race car. That is an absolute gigantic impact, both with the front and then a secondary hit in the rear.
And the Darlington winner, Chase Briscoe. His playoff run ends prematurely.
So disappointing.
AMR safety team there, very snappy, on the scene to help both drivers involved in this accident with just a handful of laps in stage 1 to go. Both out of their cars, both in the safe hands of the AMR safety team, but look at how fast this happened. After a clean stage 1, almost in its entirety, it ends with a big bang. You're watching NBC Sports coverage of the NASCAR Series playoffs from Atlanta, presented by Applebee's, and what was a smooth, fast opening stage ended with a violent crash suffered by Kyle Larson in the 5. The 2021 champion is out of this opening race of the playoffs. Kyle Petty, DJ, what did you make of that? I mean, the opening stage was so entertaining, so much fun, but didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, it's exactly what we talked about in pre-race. The unpredictability of this place and how fast big names can get in trouble.
Yeah, you know, Kyle Larson was sitting in the best spot points-wise coming in here, but nobody wants to have an issue like this. And Larson, to me, looked like he was able to maneuver around top, bottom, wherever he wanted to go. So definitely one of the best race cars. Hard hit, glad to see he's okay. And unfortunately, Briscoe in the wrong spot at the wrong time. But this goes to show you, doesn't matter whether you're at the top of the playoff standings or down towards the bottom of it, there's just no safe place here.
Yeah, what's so fascinating about this accident, we had just come from the in-car camera with Chase Elliott, and we saw how much he was in the gas. That's a place where he was wide open in the gas, and when it snapped, it went fast, Booth.
Yeah, it went really quick, and I think some of that, as we ride along, you see how quickly this happens. This is Briscoe. Just hard to see where the car is, all the smoke. One of the things, Steve, that as we ride along, he hits a wall at about 160 mile an hour. It's a massive impact, but the setup of these race cars at Daytona, Talladega here, when you get loose and you have to correct, it gets on the left rear spring, and when it does, it loads that car up, and it makes it easier for the car to hang a right like that.
Yeah, both rear shocks have a built-in stop, and you don't want to ride on them because they're too rough, but in normal operating procedure, you're very close to them, so when you turn back to the right and the weight dumps on the left, that's all it takes. It sits on that stop and the car turns right.
And fellas, another stark reminder of how thankful we are for the safer barrier.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. My goodness. So there it is, the completion of stage 1 and 4th stage win of this season. 3rd here in the ATL for Ryan Blaney, and valuable playoffs points. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood. Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card, and by Toyota. Let's go places. There it is, downtown Atlanta, Midtown, Buckhead, all the various areas of the ATL. And we're about just under an hour's drive south of that here in Hampton, Georgia. Stage 1 is complete, and Steve, Jeff, that's a car that's not getting any points. And look at them on the left. And the ones who have been the valued winners of stage 1. And it is Chase Briscoe, Kyle Larson out of this race.
And this is where Kyle Larson's regular season is what he's going to have to lean on. You see him still 13 above. That's because of all of those playoff points he earned by winning races and stages. Briscoe, on the other hand, all the way down in 16th. Now, look, if you're a Chase Briscoe fan, don't throw the towel in yet. Remember, we still have 199 laps to go in this race, and currently we have basically 9 playoff drivers inside the top 11. It could finish that way, or we could have multiple playoff drivers in the garage at the end of this. We don't know. And if you're Chase Briscoe, you're hoping, you don't wish bad luck on anyone, but it wouldn't hurt your feelings if you saw a few more playoff drivers have issues.
He got to within 21 of the end in February, where he said, I was on the wrong side of a 3-wide battle, and then he got crashed out there as well. He was feeling really buoyant about this. Have a look at the graphic in the bottom left. It doesn't paint a pretty picture here recently in Atlanta.
Well, it doesn't, and I think that shows you why everybody came into this race scared. They're afraid of this event. These first 3 races, Steve, are very volatile racetracks. Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol, they're all concerned. They think this is the craziest round of the playoffs, and this is why. You don't see Kyle Larson typically have these kind of issues on a normal racetrack. He's not even real sure what happened, Dave.
Well, let's ask him right here. I'm glad to see a smile on your face. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thankfully, everything held up well inside the car. So, yeah, that was a huge hit. Not really sure what caused it. I was actually sort of tight, loaded in the corner, and then that was pretty far around the corner and just stepped out. So, yeah, I don't know. It just all happened really fast.
Were you trying to save the car at that point? Was it loading weird to you on that lap?
What's that?
Was it loading weird? Were you trying to save the car at all?
No, I mean, I was already loaded in the corner, just got loose, and then, yeah, I mean, when you're spinning or getting ready to spin, you got to turn right. Just it overcorrected, I guess. So, yeah, just a bummer. We'll see kind of how everything shakes out after the day, and then go on to Watkins Glen and try and have a good night.
Yeah, you came in with the most playoff points. This is affecting it now.
Obviously.
Yeah, he'll move on to Watkins Glen, guys.
Well, there's nothing else to say about that other than that was a very fortunate escape for Kyle Larson to see him walking around and being able to talk to Dave. And anyway, let's get back to it. He'll move on. We'll see him at Watkins Glen, as Dave said. Let's get down to pit road. It is busy. Let's head there now.
48 Alex Bowman brings his car in. The car was loose to start, tight at the end of the run. Was wondering if they would be taking drivability away. They believe the adjustment they're going to make will keep him where he is. It drives well and it's fast, Marty.
Second in stage 1 for Austin Cindric, who said he's tight to start but got better as the run went. And then he said, honestly, I feel like I'm better than the cars around me. Ryan Blaney told us earlier this week, I want to control the race from the front. Stage 1, check, just a little bit too free for Blaney. And you saw all these cars waiting on fuel. Longer stage 2 coming up.
Tell you what, whether it's all the rumors swirling about him potentially losing his job, whether that's angered him or fired him up, but Alex Bowman, he's been in the mix. His teammate had a rough day. Bowman grabbed 2 spots on pit road, the race off, and that 48 Ally car is looking good. Not a great day for the 5 camp at Hendrick Motorsports, but the others are running well.
At Atlanta Motor Speedway outside the infield care center, thankfully Kyle Larson has walked out under his own power. Now Chase Briscoe as well, trying to avoid what was happening in front of you. What'd you see?
Yeah, I saw the 5-car kind of just sitting there, and I was trying to slow down and tried getting left. And as I was trying to slow down and turn left, I was just kind of inching my way closer and closer to the yellow line. Just couldn't get low quick enough, and just, I mean, KO'd him. So, yeah, unfortunate for sure. Now it puts us in a must-win situation, and, you know, it was in a must-win situation last week too. So just got to, yeah, go to Watkins Glen and Bristol, which are two really good tracks for us. But, yeah, definitely unfortunate. You know, I thought our Mahindra Tractor Sport was going to be pretty good, and yeah, just kind of unfortunate in Darday.
Are you physically 100%, and how's your spirit?
Yeah, I'm good. The car's obviously tore up. My groin hurts a little bit. That was a big hit, but other than that, yeah, I'll be all right.
All right, move on to the next race, guys. He's got a little work to do now. Must win. What do you think?
Well, as he said, these tracks, all three tracks actually, in his opinion, laid out pretty well for him. So we'll see.
Well, I know it feels like a must-win now, but I don't know if it is, right? I think there's still a lot of races to try to put that label on it yet.
Well, in a must-win situation, Diff, he absolutely had a monumental night at Darlington last weekend.
Two things he said. Now, his mum and dad go to the races quite often, but they made a last-minute decision to go to Darlington to see this. And he said winning in the number 14 and then getting a phone call from Tony Stewart was just the icing on the cake.
A career drive, in my eyes. And those are the kind of moments that define a career for a young driver. I know he's been around for a while, but he's still trying to establish himself. Remember, he's replacing Martin Truex Jr. next year at Joe Gibbs Racing. So now he walks in the door as a proven winner. You see the 19 car coming down pit road serving a penalty.
Well, speeding the first time too fast, so they'll probably come down now and get a little bit more fuel just to try to shorten their green flag pit stop if it's required. If we don't get a yellow, they will have to pit in this next stage. But Christopher Bell, they didn't get their car full as well, but Marty, looked like there was some fire in the box after he left.
Yeah, it was an eventful pit stop, Steve. You see the fire right there. They also kind of got blocked in by the 41. And in the middle of all that, they didn't get the car full, so they had to come back down pit road to get it full here for the 20 car. He was in 14th. Now he's going to be all the way towards the back of the pack.
I don't know what has changed or what we're seeing that's different, but it seems like over the last couple months there have been more fires on pit road. We saw Suarez's car burn up at Daytona. It's something I hope NASCAR takes a look at, because I'm not sure I know the answer, right? We saw the Suarez one was off a backfire, but that right there, that's a lot of fire around the dump can.
What about yesterday?
Lane.
Yeah,
what
about
right.
yesterday in the Xfinity Series race with Sam Mayer?
There was another one there as well. I mean, it's always been a part of the sport, and I'm sure everybody will take a look at it and try to prevent it. You see those stage points, all those yellow highlighted drivers are playoff drivers. Truex from last to 9th to score 2 stage points will have to go back to the field again with that speeding penalty.
All of that good work undone. For those of you just turning on, welcome. This is the Quaker State 400. It's the first race in the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. This is the postseason, and this is the beginning of a drive for a championship. And Alex Bowman on the left of your screen in that Ally 48 for Hendrick Motorsports. He is driving like he wants to be a champion. He's got Ricky Stenhouse giving him a nice push at the restart. Austin Cindric in that bright day-glow yellow machine has got his teammate Ryan Blaney pushing him. So Team Penske Fords go 1 and 2 for the time being. Here comes Bowman, Stenhouse, Logano's there. William Byron in the 24. The first stage ran almost caution-free until Kyle Larson, the 2021 champ, had a huge crash right here. Car got loose on him and snapped back. He went straight into the safer barrier and took out Chase Briscoe with him.
3 wide, deeper into the field. That's Tyler Reddick with that white car all the way up top. We'll see if he can get back in line. 2 wide as Cindric and Bowman are kind of knotted up at the front, looking for help behind.
About Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He always runs well in that 47 car outside second row. He always runs well at drafting style racetracks. Once again to the front.
It'll be interesting to see if the race looks the same. A lot of comments about how the car's handled and what the balances were. What crews made adjustments? What crews have aided their driver to make it more versatile, to allow them to change lanes?
Look several rows back on that low line on the inside in the white and red Wood Brothers Ford. It's Harrison Burton, the winner from Daytona, the Coke Zero Sugar 400. And he's been running in the top 10 pretty much all race long.
When I look at Harrison's playoffs opportunity, I think we have all of those favorites above the line coming here with nerves. I want Harrison to come here with the idea of why not us? Let's make it more uncomfortable for those guys. Maybe we can go to victory lane again, or just have a great points day as he puts a defensive block heading into one. That was him all the way down to the white line blocking, who I believe was the 51 of Haley behind him.
Folks, there's two things the drivers have been saying. The ones who are outside the playoffs, as Logano dives to the inside of William Byron. They say, I don't want to affect a playoff driver's chances in the big picture, but don't mistake that for a lack of willingness and drive to go for a victory.
Oh, they'll go for it. I can promise you they'll go for it. Winning a cup race is so big. Yeah, you don't want to get into it with a playoff guy, but you can't be afraid of taking the fight to him.
Austin Cindric spoke to us earlier this week, and he said if I was to be honest and give myself a grade for the season thus far, I'd give myself a B-. Yes, we got to win. That's how we got into the playoffs, but there's other things I need to be better at. He said my stats don't really tell the full story, but we are trending in the right direction at the right time of the season. And Stevie, look at him, out in front and leading well.
And I like, you know, he purposely said he takes a lighthearted approach. He said other drivers, you know, they have to look all serious. And he said, that's just not my style. I do my best when I'm enjoying my job, and it's easy to enjoy when you're leading.
And we saw a little bit ago the bottom start to deteriorate as the run went on. Early, about this time, the bottom started to go away. You can see several drivers trying to make something happen on the bottom. If it doesn't work out, they lose spots. Then, as tires wore out, guys got more aggressive again on the bottom. Let's see what happens this time.
Keep an eye back to that black 54 of Ty Gibbs. He's made up 26 positions since the start of this race. He and Martin Truex Jr., fellow JGR driver, just worked their way through methodically and effectively through the field. Truex got the pit road speeding penalty. Gibbs is right there.
Yeah, his teammate's right. He's right there, but his teammate, Denny Hamlin, is back in 32nd. You don't normally see him back there, but let's see if that's a plan. He's right here in the mix with all of his guys, and then completely goes to the bottom, out of the throttle, lets everybody roll right by him. Let's listen to what they were saying.
I don't like it, Chris. Yeah, I think they're going to wreck.
Yeah, 10-4, I want what you want, but they're going to wreck for another 150 laps or so, I guess. So I got it.
So what I hear there is Denny Hamlin saying, I don't like it. I want to get out of this mix. Chris Gabehart says, listen, I want what you want. I want to have a finish, but I think there's 184 to go. For the next 150 laps, they look like they're going to wreck. So you have to just accept you are going to miss out on stage points. He missed out on stage 1. I believe by looking at this strategy, he's okay with missing out on stage 2.
Keep an eye up on the top line for the predominantly green car, but it has a really intricate design on it. That's the February race winner here, Daniel Suarez of Trackhouse. He had a hand in the design of the car. There it is there. Super intricate. He is so proud of this Quaker State 99 for Trackhouse. He's right there with his teammate, and he's ready to win again. He's the only Trackhouse car in the playoffs, and one of his racing heroes, Adrian Fernandez, the IndyCar and sports car legend, he's here cheering Suarez on. Inside Chase Elliott, 3 wide. Suarez is right up high. Ricky Stenhouse in the middle.
Yeah, what a move, what an aggressive move. You're starting to see the intensity pick up on corner entry.
Go on board with Elliott.
Still there, bumper. Still there, bumper. Coming back even. They're 2 wide, 3 back of y'all, whatever you want. All clear there. 22 is going to shoot bottom here. All right, you shut him off. You're all clear up behind the 99. above your bumpers. 8 pushing him hard on entry. Just one inside.
Been a pretty effective run for Elliott so far today. That home win would be something special to kick off the playoffs. But the 48 of Alex Bowman has been pretty much ever present for about the last 50 or 60 laps. This is an awesome run from Bowman. We were talking about Daniel Suarez a moment ago. Tell us more, Kim.
Well, they were very optimistic about this race. In fact, felt like Atlanta was their strength in the first round. He's got 4 finishes of 6th or better in his 5 starts on this configuration. That setup almost identical to what they ran in the spring when they won. This team has gotten a little consistency lately. They're going to rank on that as they move through this first round and hope that consistency continues to build. Daniel Suarez currently in the 7th position.
See all of the yellow spoilers at the front of the field. Cindric leads as we prepare to kick the playoffs. We started to look at this round, Jeff, and who has the best numbers at the speedways, and Austin Cindric rose above the rest. When you look at the 16 playoff drivers and you break down the drafting tracks this year, Austin Cindric averages over 33 points a race. That's the best of all the playoff drivers. He's already scored 9 points in the first stage, leading here now. I like this approach. Hamlin, I know, is working to the finish, but if Cindric can score 15, 16, 17 points in the stages, that's almost like a freebie if you have an accident late in the race.
Austin Cindric, he's been out front for some 15 laps, leading and leading well. Stage 2 racing in this Quaker State 400. It's the first race of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Welcome back, Lee Diffie, Steve Letarte, Jeff Burton. This has been wild. One huge crash involving Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe. The rest of it has just been 185-mile-an-hour chess game, wild stuff. It's the 1.5-mile oval that races like a super speedway as we bring you the Drivers on the Move, brought to you by Ashley Furniture and Martin Truex Jr. Up 22 like Ty Gibbs, but remember Truex had that penalty, and under green flag conditions, Truex has actually made up 38 positions. It's been a good day for the 19.
Yeah, he's going to
on the storm.
Yeah, he is for sure get the award for the most cars passed. Started both stages, tail end of the field, and here he is back inside the top 15. And now it's very hard to go anywhere just because it's kind of locked, right? This is what happens. It can kind of get clogged up. It's rush hour traffic. It doesn't matter if it's going 0 or 180. You still have to have a lane to go in.
So, Jeff, we've been saying it's the 1.5 mile oval that races like a super speedway. Big difference is you don't have that big back straight or the front stretch where they're through the triangle to set yourself up to get time to think about it. How much harder is it like that?
Well, the corner, the radius of the corners are so much tighter. At Talladega, Daytona, we didn't see them 3 wide racing already through the corners. It's so narrow here with the radius, it's hard to do that. So it completely changes how you have to drive the race car.
Coke on board, Chase Elliott. Been in the top 10 pretty much all race long. Working on Suarez and Stenhouse. Hey Marty, we spoke to Austin Cindric this week at Playoffs Media Day. What was your take on him?
What an impressive stage so far, Lee. Yeah, and I took something away from that conversation. It was really when he said, I'm not a goal guy, so I had one this year. It was to make the playoffs. So everything from here, according to Austin Cindric, is house money. It's all upside. So, Steve, as a leader of a race team, do you like your driver having that attitude? Because it sure seemed to take the pressure off Austin Cindric this week.
Well, listen, you would love to believe that you have the confidence to act like you belong. But the truth is, the numbers would say that the 2 car is probably a little shy on average running position and points scored. So I like Cindric's approach, which is we made the playoffs. That was our goal. Anything past this is kind of a bonus. And if this is the type of performance that attitude garners, well then bravo Austin Cindric, because he's out here controlling both lanes, looking very comfortable behind the wheel.
And in that conversation, yes, he was playing with house money, but he expects to transfer out of this round. He fully expects his team to do that.
I like when he said, if we bring everything to the table that we've got, the best is yet to come for us.
So somebody that's on the move. Look at there's a green and white car, 43 car. Watch him. He is the first one, Eric Jones, that has tried to make 3 wide work, and it is happening. He has jumped to the outside, 3 wide in every corner, and he has gotten by a ton of cars in these last few laps.
How well is it working, Jeff? Since the restart, he's made up 20 positions.
It was working really good until Todd Gilliland said, oh, well, you got to run the absolute top. Well, I'll just mirror drive you up there. Good work by Todd Gilliland, right? All these decisions aren't made in a vacuum. He's adjusted. Now the 43 says, well, if you're going to block the 3rd lane, I'll take a look in the middle. Not quite as effective for the driver of the 43, although the 38 gets a big run.
The 22 got really tight off the corner, stacked everybody up.
3 wide again. Burton, Gilliland, and Jones up high. And Keselowski seeing that. Look at that Dollar Tree car just fly around the top. The green and white machine of Eric Jones. He was looking for a win last weekend in Darlington, where he's won twice, to try and vault his way into the playoffs. It didn't work. And again, we've got 3 wide down into turn 3.
Again, a late move by the 51 car.
Justin Haley running nicely in the top 10. Haley has had an extraordinary run this year as far as the percentage of laps completed. He's 3rd overall prior to this race starting today, and he's the best of the Ford drivers in the entire field. His conversion rate has been exemplary this year.
51 had a look down the backstretch. The 1 of Chastain blocked it. Kind of stacked up the bottom lane. We'll see once again. There you go. The 1 very defensive on corner entry, running that shallow entry. The 51 of Haley, 4th car in line, the all-black car on the bottom. That's the car I'm referencing. He still tries to find a way. Now he's under attack. Suarez will turn left, take the bottom lane, drive in 3 wide.
And Jeff, what's it like to be the man in the middle? I can't imagine it'd be too comfortable.
It's not comfortable at all. And I spent some time before the race with the spotters, and that's where it's really important for that guy to be telling you, you're 3 wide, 1 on the bottom, 1 on the outside. That tells you you are the middle driver.
What a drive in that Grady Health Systems Ford. Justin Haley duking it out in the top 10. Meanwhile, Martin Truex Jr. continues this forward power flex. There he is there. Made up 20+ positions, then got a pit road speeding penalty, had to go further back, and has just stormed his way forward. And he told us earlier this week, make no mistake about it, I'm not on some glorified retirement tour. I want to win not only a race, I want to win this championship and sail off into the sunset.
Every year when he sits down in that media room before the playoffs start, he says, I know I don't give you guys anything to talk about. I'm not really good on quotes. I'm not really good at information.
He did this week.
Well, what he misses is his attitude and his body language. When he walks in, he doesn't have to say a word. It's clear to me that even at this point in his career, he wants it as much now as he ever has without saying anything.
Let's take you back a few moments ago, the view from Chase Elliott's car. Whoa, whoa. That almost put a massive dent in Justin Haley's impressive laps completed percentage.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact right there. Shoots the 51 to the left. Fortunately, the 8 car wasn't exactly beside him. Gave him somewhere to go. And how about the 8 car? We've seen him lately, Kyle Busch, we've seen him lately with chances to win races. And now here he is, worked himself up into the top 10, 11th actually.
Well, there's that humorous saying, Rick Ware is everywhere for all of the different motorsport series that Rick competes in. His driver, Justin Haley, is doing a terrific job. You know, you can join NASCAR's free rewards program and start earning points that turn into member-only rewards. You can turn every time you check in for a race, trade points in for free tickets, exclusive gear, autographed merchandise, and one-of-a-kind race day experiences. Head to NASCAR.com/rewards to get the good stuff as we welcome you back to NBC Sports coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs here in Atlanta, presented by Applebee's. This has been nothing short of a wild race. Side by side, 3 wide, Speeds of 183, 184, 185 miles an hour as we ride with the pole sitter, Michael McDowell, the blaster on board. And for Michael, he's drifted back a little further back than where he would like to be. Drivers' names underlined in yellow are playoff drivers. You can see that on the standings on the left of your screen. Who do you like the look of? Where is your driver? How are they placed? And one of the biggest stories of the playoffs drivers is Denny Hamlin of Joe Gibbs Racing in that Mavis Toyota. He is just sitting at the back of the field. He's waiting, Jeff and Steve. He's sitting in 33rd. He doesn't want to be a part of this.
He doesn't want to be a part of this. It's very interesting to kind of watch this whole situation. We have 50 laps to go in this stage, which is outside the fuel window. Pitting at Atlanta under green is down the backstretch. The end of the back straightaway, you turn left, you have a pit commitment line, then you run 90 miles an hour around the apron, and then down to 45 miles an hour pit road. So this right here is the commitment line. It's on the backstretch. Then you go all the way around 3 and 4 at 90 miles an hour because there's no room on the banking to kind of slow down. So with all of that time, you lose quite a bit of time. You lose about 38 seconds plus your pit stop. I imagine everyone in the field is thinking fuel only, and from what I see right here, as organized as it is, everybody's trying to be very efficient with the gas pedal, trying to shorten their pit stop up more than everyone else.
Half in front, lower headlight. Headlight down behind you.
Right there.
1 by 2 in front. 3/4, half in front. Gonna get tight on entry. Tight on entry, still inside. Going higher behind, ready. He tried to send it, then he went back down. 1 by 1 behind. It's a 45, 23, 38 behind. 1 in front.
Coleman Presley on the radio directing Joey Logano on there, but you see Joey Logano part throttle for at least 50% of the lap, maybe more. Even right here, he'll pick out maybe wide open just to get up onto the straightaway. Nope, doesn't even go wide open on the straightaway. Back to half throttle as soon as he feels the draft ahead. So everybody at this point is just really kind of minding their gas mileage as we see some debris on the front stretch. This may mess the whole thing up, and there it is. Caution's out.
Debris on the front. Debris on the front somewhere.
So just the second racing caution outside of the stage break. Well, that caution actually flowed in from Kyle Larson's caution into the stage 1 break. There's the pole man, Michael McDowell. Got off to a good start. Michael led the opening 29 laps before being shuffled back a little bit when the Team Penske teammates and the Hendrick boys came flying on up and pushed their way forward. So this debris will be cleaned up. We've got 46 to go in the second stage. Just about to say, you just got a quick shot, Jeff, of the 8 of Kyle Busch. Nobody in this field has had a last 3 races like Kyle Busch. 4th, 2nd, 2nd. Denied a win that would have vaulted him into these playoffs at the last 2 races at Daytona and Darlington. So keep an eye on just how far Busch can go forward. 14th at the moment, but he started to form up a pretty solid race. So we'll keep an eye on the 8 as we go longer into this Quaker State 400.
Jeff, we have this great view on board with Chase Elliott. Bottom up is the car, upper left you see Chase, the right his feet. Take us through driver responsibility, using the brake a little bit to maintain pit road speed.
Yeah, this is the previous pit stop and just dragging that brake, trying to make sure he doesn't exceed pit road speed. And then when he starts to turn in, watch his right foot. Boom, boom, that's him downshifting. Never touches the clutch, right?
So he's in
neutral.
neutral.
Had it in neutral, so now he gets it clutch in first gear. And now he's waiting until he's told to go. Jack falls, that's the signal. That's when you roll.
That's such a great thing. Remember, in the old car, you just knocked it into neutral. Here, you kind of have to get that quick double downshift because with the sequential gearbox, you have to get from second through first into neutral. And then that heel toe, right? Get your right toe on the brake, right heel, keeping the engine revved up. Now the pedal setup also, when we talk about this, it's the same basically pedal design for each driver. Now your pad can change. You see that aluminum pad in the middle. That could be something that Chase Elliott likes that another driver may not, but some pretty fancy footwork.
Just had a quick shot of your old colleague, your old teammate, Alan Gustafson, crew chief for the 9 in his 20th season as a Cup Series crew chief.
Yeah, with these crew limits, the crew chiefs have to get off the pit box and help on the pit stops. I wasn't very big on up and down the ladder. I kind of just hung out up top, watched the action.
Sit in the Tower of Power. All right, pit road's about to get busy. And Dave Burns is standing by. Davo, they're coming your way. Kick it off.
Lee, Alex Bowman, top of your screen there. Pretty happy with this race car. Was told to max save before that run. If you save fuel even before you're coming to pit road, you can lessen the fill time for the race car. So Fuel Man definitely going to work here. We'll see if they put any new tires on the 48. I don't think so, Marty.
Very short conversation between Austin Cindric and Brian Wilson. He said no complaints for the car, going to be fuel only for him, as well for his teammate Ryan Blaney, who said I need another half step on the last adjustment. Meanwhile, William Byron in fourth. He said the car is still too tight, but the rear grip is way better. So an interesting diversion point here, Steve. A couple of teams deciding to take right side tires. We'll see if those tires make a difference.
There was a bit of chaos on pit road as well. And the world's busiest airport, Hartsfield Atlanta International, not too far from where we are here. A lot happening in the ATL. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Straight Talk Wireless. And by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Now, do you know the infamous story of how an armed robbery on the night of Muhammad Ali's comeback fight in Atlanta changed the destiny of the city? It's the $1 Million Heist. It's streaming now on Peacock and on display here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, a replica of the 1966 Cadillac Calais from the Peacock original Fight Night. Pretty cool to have it here. By the way, that stars Kevin Hart, Terrence Howard, Taraji P. Henson, Don Cheadle, and Samuel L. Jackson. Pretty cool. Now, remember we said going to the break there was some chaos on pit road. Well, several cars were involved. Let's show you a replay, Jeff, of what went down with Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick got in his pit box and everything was fine. Gets in there, follows Logano, comes in a little bit deep in his box. Would have been difficult to get around Logano, but when he leaves, 77 car, Carson trying to get in his box, and there's contact, Steve.
There is contact. This comes back to those gas onlys, right? Kind of gets the whole reference off. I think that the Spire car thought the 45 would be in there longer, maybe taking tires. But in the end, I think it's up to the 45 to exit clearly. He kind of exits to the right, and here they are checking the toe. That's what that aluminum piece of materials for. They can align the front and rear tires. We'll have to see if there's any issues on the 45. You see him shaking it around, getting ready to go green.
Pace car leaves the circuit. When they get to the line, there'll be 41 laps to go in the second stage here of the Quaker State 400. On the right-hand side of your screen, it's Austin Cindric. Bowman on the outside.
See Christopher Bell, he also had a penalty. Pitting outside of his box.
Let's get back to it. Teammates working well on that low side. Ryan Blaney pushing Cindric. William Byron has been in and around the top 5 for the majority of this race. Look at on the high side, the 99 of Daniel Suarez, the February winner here in Atlanta. He feels he's got a shot to repeat that victory.
With 41 to go, it is game on, Steve. No fuel saving. Just go get what you can get.
That's right, the reins are released.
Suarez ducks down. Tucks in behind Blaney. Been good work from the 6. Keselowski, who was floundering further back in the field. He wasn't happy with how his car was handling earlier in this race. He's found his way forward. That bright orange front of the RFK Racing Ford.
And with this stage, only 39 to go, you can see now the willingness to go 3 wide is there.
Been a strong run today for Ricky Stenhouse. He's been in the top 10. He hasn't had a top 10 since Chicago, since the street race. So that would be refreshing if he could stay where he is right now, or maybe push a little further forward.
Look at that green 43 car, making it 3 wide on the bottom. Now he's in the middle. Now he's got the bottom clear. That was a really nice move. But look how the bottom checked up right there. Now he's going to try to slide up, take that spot. Whoa, try to tip the crossover move.
Let's not discount the 38 of Todd Gilliland. There he is right there from Front Row Motorsports. Gilliland had a really nice run here earlier in the year. Let's see what he can do today. Said, I just don't want to get caught up in somebody else's issue. And if he has a good, clean run, maybe, just maybe, that first Cup win is getting closer. Remember we said Brad Keselowski's making good progress. Let's have a listen to the 6.
Just outside here. 37, 1 back, lane higher, half back lane. He's there, outside. He's 2 outside, 2 outside. He's going to keep the middle, 2 outside, 2 outside, 2 outside, 2 outside. 1 outside, middle's open, 1 outside, middle's open, 2 outside, 1 outside. 1 outside the 9, 3 wide behind him. Still the 9 right there. 2 apart out front. Just the 9 here.
Great to hear TJ Majors at work there for Brad Keselowski, who is in his 12th playoffs appearance. The co-owner at RFK Racing, and has made a difference to that organization. Would have loved to have had his teammate Chris Buescher in, and Chris got close. But having that 14th different winner last weekend with Chase Briscoe, that changed the landscape for those guys trying to get in on points. Look at this, Busch pops out down to the inside, and then Joey Logano is there. Logano pushing his way through. Harrison Burton trying to go with him, trying to tuck in behind. Remember the alliance there between the Wood brothers and Team Penske. There's Busch again. He's now making it almost 3 wide.
You see the difference in handling, though. Joey Logano was able to enter shallow into turn 3 with confidence on the throttle. Harrison had to get out of the gas, it looked like, because his car didn't handle like he wanted. He had to carry less entry speed, and for that reason, now look at the difference. 3 cars between them.
Eric Jones Jeff, to your point, has been phenomenal. Right up against the wall. There he is in that Dollar Tree 43 for Legacy Motor Club, and he's going to go again. Look at Jones.
He's been the most aggressive race car driver on the racetrack today. He and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. have been willing to put it 3 wide more than any other drivers.
I like that move too, right here, and he just carries the entry speed right into the middle of the corner. You mentioned Stenhouse in front of him. He didn't gain a foot on the 47.
He has been flying in his Toyota and has made up 23 positions since the start. Jones and Stenhouse, they're liking that high line.
The squirrel back in the cage.
You're watching NBC Sports coverage of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs here in Atlanta, presented by Applebee's. And with just 26 to go in the second stage, this has been unreal. And Daniel Suarez will be pretty pleased with his run. He's the defending race winner, or here at Atlanta anyway. He won earlier in the year, and he also has the Xfinity fastest lap. That was set back on lap 74 in the Quaker State 99 for Trackhouse Racing. The speed and the skill and the decision-making that has been displayed today has been unreal. This is fun, but this is fast and it's risky, but the respect that they've shown to each other, there's only 2 retirements after 135 laps of racing. That's Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe, and one of the most spectacular drives today, Kim Kuhn, has been that of Eric Jones.
Yes, it has, currently in the 8th position. It's been a long year for this team, though, for a lot of different reasons. Only 1 top 10 finish for the year. That came at the Daytona 500, but there's been some restructuring behind the scenes. So with that, there's been some growing pains. The team trying to get better for next year, but over the next 10 races, Dave Ellen said, we can play spoiler. It's a lot easier for us to take risks because points at this point for the team do not matter. So Eric Jones taking a lot of risks here this afternoon.
I like how Eric Jones, once again, Jeff, you've pointed out time and time again, he just really opens the wheel in the middle of the corner, lets that car run up to the 3rd lane. We'll see if he does it to Suarez right here. Green and white car of Jones, solid green car of Suarez. Oh, Suarez this time is going to go all the way to the top of the racetrack.
And Suarez has said, look, you know, yes, we made the playoffs by winning here, but mid-season, we maybe weren't at our best, but we're starting to trend back in the right direction now as right around goes Todd Gilliland. Flies around the top side of the one of Ross Chastain, who kind of got stuck and left in the middle.
Yeah, Chastain looked like he had a moment. He was going so slow, he must have had to get out of the gas because of a handling situation. We'll be able to see here. Looks like he's built confidence back up in the one car. Full throttle here on corner exit.
That's what, the lap before that, watch the 51, I'm sorry, this is the one car. He just has a problem with his car, really loose. Todd Gilliland's like, oh, please stop coming up, please stop, that was close. And then the lap before that, I thought there was a big wreck getting ready to happen on the back straightaway. 51 completely lost his car, got up the racetrack. He did a nice job of saving it. Then he put a big block on Kyle Busch. That's what's crazy about this kind of racing. You make a move and it doesn't work, and you're looking in your mirror the entire time. Are they coming from behind? What lane do I have to block? You have to be willing to put that guy behind you in a situation that he doesn't really want to be in.
And that was my point a little earlier, Jeff, like the decision-making, the split-second decision-making and the respect. This has been unreal. It's been so much fun, and we're only in stage 2. First race of the playoffs has given us one to remember already.
And what's not lost on me is the ability of Cindric to just quite easily lead the field. He's just running wide open. Big move down the straightaway.
Suarez.
All the way down below the white and red line with the left side tires. I have to get another look to see if he just, how low he went. Remember, that is out of bounds. Much like Daytona and Talladega, you can't go down below that white line to advance your position. This is heading straight down the backstretch. Coming at you, he swerves left. I think NASCAR is going to look at that. Left side's clearly below the white line to advance his position.
And race control has confirmed they are looking at it.
The only reason there won't be a penalty is that he feel like Logano blocked him and pushed him down below that line. See, Logano with the block, was there room for both cars?
I think the block from Logano is inbounds for me. I think we've seen that sort of racing, but we'll have to wait and see what the officials say.
And think about the extra motivation, too, for Suarez. Quaker State is the naming rights sponsor of this event. He's driving the Quaker State car. He'd love to get 2 wins here at Atlanta Motor Speedway and solidify his position in the playoffs going forward. Logano tucks him behind, then comes back up again.
Same 2 cars going down the straightaway that time. Suarez puts a nice block on Logano.
Austin Cindric, to your point, Steve, who's led now 73 laps. He's never led that many laps. He's a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series winner. He's never led that many laps in a single race in his career.
Yeah, and back here, it's total chaos. But up front, I'm not going to say it's easy, because I'm sure Cindric is working hard at it. But there really hasn't been a lot of attackers, and Bowman and Blaney just ride side by side, kind of blocking both lanes.
Yeah, he's making it look pretty easy. Somebody else has done a nice job in this stage is Christopher Bell. He's only gotten up to 16th, but we haven't seen much of him today.
No.
He started moving forward.
Oh, we've just got an update. We just got an update from race control, and Jeff, you were on the money. No action on the Suarez below the lines because there was a reactive move from Logano.
I think that's the right call. I think that, you know, Suarez, to prevent from getting penalized, could have not turned and just turned the 22 car, you know, to say, hey, I can't go below this yellow line and hook the 22 and spinning to cause a big caution. I think that's the right call. I think he got forced below that line.
Oh, look at this. 3 wide. Eric Jones right up against the fence as well. Keep in mind, Jones started 33rd at the drop of the green today. Steve, he has done nothing but fly forward.
An impressive run out of that 43, though. Cindric continues to lead. Playoff cars, the top 4 spots.
to 9 to go to complete stage 2 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a race it has been. 1 caution for debris on track, 1 caution for a big crash right here involving Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe. And one of the bigger talking points of this race has been the strategy and the methodology at the 11 camp of Denny Hamlin. Dave Burns, tell us more.
Lee, let's give you a very interesting Toyota driver update with Denny Hamlin running in 28th position. Is he or isn't he? Can he or can't he? Will he or won't he, when the time comes, go toward the front of this pack? In the last session, he said the car is too loose. When it's time for me to go, I need it tightened up. That tells me the driver plans to go. Then Chris Gabehart waited a lap to pit him. He was in the lead lap. Everybody is. He didn't pit with everybody because he wanted to avoid the chaos. Chris reminded him of that when he brought Denny down pit road a lap late. Steve, I think that's really good strategy. He's got a clean race car. He's going to have a lot to pass in stage 3, but I think the 11 is still poised to try and do it.
Yeah, I don't think we have any idea how good the 11 is. I agree with Dave that he's just a strategy to ride back there. The struggle is, you know, he's definitely giving up points. We have yet to see the multi-car accident. We did have an accident with Larson, but it wasn't really getting caught up in somebody. It was his accident, right? He got loose, corrected. The 14 got caught up into it. This just chaotic racing continues. I'm almost holding my breath waiting for it to happen, Jeff.
Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. underneath the one of Chastain. A little bit of contact. I'll be honest, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that. Chase Elliott driving underneath the 22, had to lift out of the throttle. We've seen a lot of drivers trying to make a move and then a car just doesn't stick.
The one of Chastain bullies his way in the middle between the 47 and the 22. Where will Todd Gilliland go? Will he follow the 47? He will. It seems like that 38 likes the top lane, on board with Chase Elliott, the Coca-Cola Cram. That's Todd Gilliland right in front. Chastain in the middle, Logano on the bottom.
Have you noticed that Jones has been shuffled out of this? Jones is plummeting. He's back to 19th. As we end the last 5 laps of stage 2. The 3 Penskes have been up there. Hendrick is well represented. It's been a terrific race by Ricky Stenhouse and Daniel Suarez, both Trackhouse cars, with Ross Chastain, that predominantly blue car, right in the center of your screen. And then Todd Gilliland has been really strong in the top 10 as well.
He has, and a car that did not run very well in the first stage. They were struggling with handling that orange and blue number 6, Brad Keselowski, sitting there in 11th. Ty Gibbs trying to get underneath them. They've certainly made that car better.
Keselowski will be looking to make another position. Good rebound by the 45 of Tyler Reddick. Remember that pit lane incident? And then he had to come back in. So he has stormed his way through. That's been very strong. He's running 14th at the moment. Marty made the point earlier about Christopher Bell. Well, the 2311 Toyota of the regular season champ, Reddick, is looking strong. And he comes up on Keselowski. 2 to go from here in stage 2.
Stage points only awarded to the top 10. Reddick currently just outside in that 13th position. Can he find a few more spots? Jeff just stood up at the booth. He's expecting some crazy laps. Oh, yeah.
Well, is Austin Cindric going to take it all the way? Is his teammate going to help him? What's Alex Bowman got as he comes around on that outer line on Ryan Blaney? 1 more to go in stage 2. It's points gathering here as Logano drops low. So too does Reddick.
Cindric continues to just dominate the front of the field.
Going to be good points.
Oh, contact between the 22 and the 38. 38 sinking, the 22 made it through on the bottom.
And Ty Gibbs says, thanks, I'll take that. I'll grab these stage points. Really good stage points for Alex Bowman as well. But it's going to be max stage points for Austin Cindric, who's now led 90 laps here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a day. 5th career stage victory, 3rd here at this track. Well done, and it's a Team Penske 1-2 with Ryan Blaney, 2nd in stage 2. This is what happened with the 22. and Logano got pushed outside that top 10. Watch this. Oh, that could have been ugly with Todd Gilliland. That could have been a whole lot bigger and nastier. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? And by Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood. Appropriate we do a Coca-Cola promo. We're in the home of Coke, Atlanta, Georgia. Just about an hour up the road from where we are here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Welcome back. Lee Diffie, Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte, and end of stage 2.
Big important reset here with 98 laps to go in the race. I believe it's going to be 4 tires up and down pit road, full of Sunoco fuel. You'll have to pit in the final stage, but you may not want to take tires. So I think now is the time to put 4 fresh Goodyears on. Long way around. 90 miles an hour under green, but under yellow, you have to creep along at 45 miles an hour.
So just jumping to the back of the pack, when does Chris Gabehart and Denny Hamlin make their move? When do they stop sitting back around 30th place?
Well, we haven't had that wreck yet. So I think that's the problem with riding in the back is when do you go? If you go too early, maybe you drive right into the wreck. Kim.
And for Daniel Suarez, he said the car's not bad, just got a little snug the last 15 laps of that run. You see him at the top of your screen. His hose, his helmet hose came unplugged. They are going to try and hand him a new one. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Dave, and they'll wait 2 seconds on fuel.
Stage points on offer today. Alex Bowman has grabbed 16 of them. He'll get 4 fresh Goodyear tires here and a fill full of fuel, Marty.
Could today be Austin Cindric's day? Already 19 stage points in the bank. Handling-wise, he said no complaints about the car. Brian Wilson told him, in essence, we're out of fuel here, so they had to wait a long time on the fuel. Several cars will pass them, but likely the last fresh Goodyears that a lot of these teams will see all day long.
There's the important numbers, the race off pit road as we reset. Everybody regroups and gets ready to go again. That's the biggest moment of the race there. Kyle Larson crashing out heavily. He is okay. Took Chase Briscoe with him. Get ready for stage 3. It's coming up. Lovely to have you with us here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You're watching NBC's presentation of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, presented by Applebee's. Cruising around at a slower pace than the frantic 185 miles an hour that we have been so far. But I want to show you this replay and a topic of conversation. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Justin Haley is black flagged here, penalized for blocking to keep the advance from the 45 from getting by him. So let's talk about the rule. It simply states vehicles must race above the double yellow lines around the entire racetrack. If in NASCAR's judgment a vehicle goes beneath the double yellow lines to improve its position, it will be black flagged. If in NASCAR's judgment a vehicle forces another vehicle beneath the double yellow line in an effort to stop the advancement, the vehicle may be black flagged. So in NASCAR's judgment, he put the 45 car below the yellow line, and that's why the penalty.
So we head to Kim Kuhn for more on Martin Truex Jr. What's the latest?
Well, despite Martin being able to move through the field multiple times today, not happy with that race car. Take a listen.
Drives like complete and it's slow. I don't get it. How can we be so slow and it drive bad?
Yeah, I'm not sure about unless there's something wrong with the motor. There's no reason for it to be slow.
So maybe a bigger problem lurking for the 19 team? I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, I know he's not happy, but he's definitely passed a lot of cars.
He has.
But he hasn't got into that top 10, to Martin's point.
All right, get ready to start stage 3. Ross Chastain in the blue. On the right, Michael McDowell, who started this race from the pole. Let's go. Stage 3's underway. Ricky Stenhouse, that predominantly yellow car, that Oscar Mayer machine. The 47 for JTG Doherty Racing. He's had a really solid day. He's got William Byron tucked in behind him. Ty Gibbs in the all-black 54. He, like Truex, made their way through from the back. And Ty's hanging tough at the front.
Missing Cindric all the way back. You see that bright yellow 2. I know they had to wait on fuel a little bit, but also a little slow on the left front on the pit stop. He looked great out front. We'll see if Cindric can put the work in, find his way back up there.
And 22 Logano is back there with him as well.
McDowell takes the lead. Just did a 2-tire stop that last time by. Chastain down low. Can you imagine if either of these guys were able to go on victory and they're like, this week? Why couldn't it have been last week?
Well, our friend Dale Jarrett down there in the Peacock pit box is right next to McDowell's pit. And he mentioned a couple pit stops ago, every corner was under work. Oh, whoa, block and some contact. 47 to the 34. What DJ told us is they adjusted every corner of the 34 to get it driving better. We're going to have to see if it pays off. That was a pretty big move between McDowell and Stenhouse.
Check this out. You're watching the 2nd and 3rd place cars.
Oh, just Stenhouse. I think what happened there was, you know, Stenhouse is expected to go to the bottom of the racetrack from McDowell, right? And he didn't. He stayed like he was going to run the 2nd lane. McDowell's expecting him to turn, and they made contact.
Yeah, one was at the bottom, one was at the top, and they both thought they could be the middle.
Yes. I was going there. And now they're buddies, right? So now Stenhouse to the back of McDowell trying to push him for the lead.
You know, when an athlete has the courage of conviction, they do what they say they're going to do. That's Alex Bowman in the 48, the Ally Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. He told us this week, I am going to be as aggressive as I can be to get as many stage points as I can to stay in this thing. It's been a really positive day.
Yeah, he's done a nice job.
A nice job in a tough week. He goes to the convention center in Charlotte for playoff driver media day, and every driver there is discussing their playoff opportunity and what they look forward to. And the 48 is discussing his possibility of not being back at Hendrick Motorsports because of a rumor. He said he called Jeff Gordon, spoke to him about it. They say the rumor's not true.
And Jeff said you're fine.
Yeah,
right?
But it took the whole day up for Alex Bowman, a day that I think he should have been celebrating that win at Chicago, that he's in the playoffs. And I think there's something to be said about this run here, trying to quiet all the doubters once again after he did it once at Chicago.
I found it interesting that we didn't even bring it up, Jeff. He brought it up to us. That's how much it was on his mind. Look at Stenhouse in the middle, Byron down low, McDowell up high, 3 wide again here in Atlanta.
Yeah, let's see if this is going to work out. I think McDowell's car, we know how fast it is. He sat on the pole, but it seems like the drivability goes away from it. Who is Ty Gibbs going to go with? Right now, McDowell, if everybody lines up on Stenhouse right here, he could be in trouble, lose a lot of spots.
And quietly lurking is the 8. Kyle Busch, back-to-back runner-up spots, unfortunately, but it is representative of a great shift in momentum for his RCR number 8 team. 4th, 2nd in the last 3 races, and he may have a shot to win here in Atlanta.
Three wide once again. Cindric trying to find his way up. He has Joey Logano in front, so Penske teammates lined up on the top line. And I think the key for Cindric is not try to get it all back right away.
Oh, we got a big crash. And it's John Hunter Nemechek. Down the back stretch. 4th caution of the day flies. We're only just getting into a rhythm in stage 3.
Yeah, I'm good.
Heavy damage on the 42.
You can see John Hunter is on the top of the racetrack. The 21 of Harrison Burton on the bottom. Harrison starts up the racetrack, but before that happened, John Hunter gets loose. It just comes around on him. Contact in the wall. His day is done.
Very fortunate to slide right across in traffic. I think that was the 51 of Haley, perhaps trying to recover from that penalty.
It's a big impact right there. That shows you, we keep talking about the drivability of the race cars, and that shows you he was up there all by himself, and it just simply came around on him.
Here's the Toyota onboard of Denny Hamlin. Saw it all unfold right in front of him. So unfortunately, the Legacy Motor Club Toyota driver John Hunter Nemechek joins Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe.
Well, Jeff, you know what I say, in every long run there's a short run. Well, every time you fire engines, there's a chance for it to become a few mileage race, and we are right at the cusp right here. 85 to go. Pit road will probably open either at 84 or 83 to go, depending on the time of the cleanup. 70 laps is about all you can go if you're out there leading a wide open throttle, but some crew chiefs I spoke to this morning said, I think I can get all the way to 80 laps.
Wow.
Back there in traffic. We saw Joey Logano earlier running part throttle. So this is one of those situations nobody likes to pit 4 laps outside their fuel window and try to save, but you're going to be handcuffed into doing it because the entire field, I believe, is going to have to make this decision. If you stay out now, while that may reduce your risk of an accident, which is not a bad idea, Lee, I think if it does go green, it's going to reduce your opportunity to win.
And the different philosophies, if you're a playoff driver or if you're not, and you can take a higher risk.
I think you pit now, and I think you don't save fuel. I think when they drop the green flag, you run as hard as you can. You can't convince me there's not going to be another caution before the end of this race. There's no way.
So let's check in with the guys on the Peacock pit box. Dale Jarrett, Kyle Petty. Gents, what do you think so far? It has been a highly entertaining race.
It has been very entertaining from our position down here on top of the pit box. It has been some fantastic racing. We've seen some comers and goers, guys running high, guys running low, and every move they make has points implications all day long.
Yeah, but what we have seen is some give and take. I think that's getting ready to end here very shortly. They're going to have to make a pit stop, as they were talking about, whether it's right now or some that decide that they can't do it until later on. But what I've seen is things started to ramp up a little bit more and some new players at the front, and we never know what that might mean.
Yeah, I know you guys are in a glass booth up there, but the intensity down here is, you can feel it right now. You can feel it.
Hey, DJ, how about your man McDowell with those adjustments? He's looking better.
I was just watching them as they went under the right front first, the right rear, then they jacked up the left side and went under there, and then made a wedge adjustment in the left rear. I'm like, they're going, that thing must not be driving good at all, but Michael McDowell just showed that they've got it where he can be aggressive again.
I'm a big fan of Travis Peterson. I think he's very aggressive with his strategy, and obviously, Jeff, aggressive with the adjustments after getting that report.
And McDowell likes it too. He likes to be aggressive. They love these kind of racetracks. He's been very successful on them. And they came here, obviously, with a ton of speed in that race car. Todd Gilliland, the crew chief, also. The negative to that is they're not going to drive as well. So now Travis Peterson's trying to put some drivability into that car.
Well, speaking of Front Row Motorsports, a couple of Team USA Olympians. Alex Cedric from the women's rugby team, yes, winning the bronze. What an awesome performance that was. And Brooks Curry, who won silver in the 4x200 freestyle relay. What an Olympics it was for Team USA. And terrific to see some Olympians here, talking with Todd Gilliland and the Front Row gang. Awesome effort.
Well, you come hang out with us here now. You gonna let Jeff and I go hang out with you in the Olympics in a couple of years?
You come. I mean, we at track and field, we had the best games. It was Team USA's best since the '84 LA games. So really successful.
And as expected, not everyone. Ty Gibbs, the opposite. He stayed up on the banking, so he's staying on, getting that track position. Bubba Wallace as well, but you see every other car, it seems like, on the apron of the racetrack coming to pit road. Dave, fill them up with gas.
Steve, they can only outcode me one time. Braves for the 48 last time was no fresh Goodyear tires, so Braves this time, unless there's a Braves 2, is going to be no fresh tires for the 48. Alex Bowman happy with this race car, a little bit tight, but with no additional tires, should be the right adjustment for him balance-wise, Marty.
William Byron comes to pit road as the highest running playoff driver. They had a long conversation on the radio. Rudy Fugle going to go fuel only here. He said to William, listen, this will help us if we have to stop again to make that stop shorter. He said, are we on the same page? Byron said, I'm not sure, but I trust you. Also, saw Michael McDowell pitting there. That was massive for them because they did not get it full on the last stop for McDowell. Now he can race.
And a lot of issues on pit road. We had the 2, the 9, the 99. Let's see what happens here.
So Suarez is released. Oh boy. Logano comes in. Reddick is there. It's a traffic jam. Suarez got stuck. Watch this. Out comes Corey LaJoie. Chase Elliott's jammed in the middle. Ricky Stenhouse forced onto the grass. It's the first race in the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Did your favorite driver make it? Do they still have a chance? How's their race looking? It all begins here. 10 races to determine a champion. Who will it be? Unfortunately for that man there, the highest ranked starting the playoffs, Kyle Larson, he went out early in a really big crash, but he is okay, and he took Chase Briscoe with him. Marty?
Diff, just to clean up the contact on pit road for Chase Elliott. You see him coming out of his pit stall here. Corey LaJoie will get into Chase Elliott. Chase came on the radio and he said, my wheel is straight, I think. And then there's actually the contact that may have made the wheel not straight for Chase Elliott. It was contact with Austin Cindric. There's the contact with Corey LaJoie. One radio transmission said, my wheel is straight, I think. The second one, Jeff, said it's off just a little bit, but I don't think there's much they're going to do about it right now.
No, there's nothing you can do about it. You can see the tape on his wheel in that shot in the camera. That should be right in front of him, straight up and down. It's not off much if it's off any, so they're not concerned about it enough to pit. They stayed out.
Now remember, Ty Gibbs stayed out, and he will lead this field back to green. 80 to go in the Quaker State 400. Let's get back to it. Bubba Wallace on the inside, Ryan Blaney pushing him. Ross Chastain in the mix.
Oh, what a move by Ty Gibbs. Got to the outside of the 23 with that big push off the nose of Chastain.
Now who's going to get the most help? The one car appears to have more forward momentum, but the 12 now right to the back of Bubba Wallace.
The concern I have for the two cars that stayed out, why I love that they're in front of the field. And if there's an accident, they can avoid it. The trouble is there's no way they can make it to the end, as you see grandfather and car owner, Coach Gibbs, on top of one of the pit boxes. So at this point, if you get a yellow, I think the field's just going to save gas when the 54 and the 23 have to come to pit road. So, you know, looking good with 77 to go, but if it does have a long green flag stretch, we'll see what kind of opportunity they have.
In the back of the field, Truex had to put a big block on Logano, who tried to get underneath him.
And look several rows forward to Blaney and to Bowman and to William Byron. They've been there the entire race. Ross Chastain trying to get that win that eluded him in the all-important last several races that could have put him in the playoffs with his teammate Daniel Suarez. Speaking of Suarez, where is he? He's back in 28th after being forced to come back down pit road after that collision, and he was just jammed in there and stuck. And so he's going to have to work his way forward. He got some fresh tires as well on that secondary stop.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, we keep talking about him. He has been riding all day long, riding no more. He now is in the middle of the pack. He's only in 21st, but before he was laying way back. So now he's trying to figure out how to get to the front.
Right up on Harrison Burton, Shane Van Gisbergen there. Almost contact. Haley goes low on the inside of SVG.
Hamlin from 21st to 23rd, thinking to himself, I'm not sure I want to be here yet.
Austin Dillon with a nice run. You see the 3 on that low side. Austin's running in 9th at the moment. Here comes Christopher Bell. Got Martin Truex Jr. going with him. The 2 JGR Toyotas trying to help each other forward. It's been a scrappy, determined race from Christopher Bell. He's really had to be resilient to work his way forward. So too for Truex. And how about the man who's led 92 laps in this race? Austin Cindric, can he find a way through in that Dayglow yellow Menards number 2?
Him and Logano lined up there on the bottom. That's been pretty consistent since they've gone to the back. This race has been dominated by playoff drivers, but now there's a pretty big mix towards the front.
Only 2 in the top 5. Gibbs and Blaney. And Gibbs on that alternate strategy late in this race. Here comes Ross Chastain trying to push his way through, and Michael McDowell's going with him.
That green and white car is kind of the back of the pack. Once again, the first guy willing to make it 3 wide. He has done it all day long, Eric Jones.
Daniel Hemrick's trying to go with Reddick, and Jones is at the head of that group, and here he goes again. Thinks about it, and may just tuck in behind Brad Keselowski for now.
He started in the back of the pack at this restart, and he's already gotten way up the field by doing that, all the way to 17th.
Oh, what a very clean and tidy move by the 2 of Cindric. Popped out of line at the start finish, got by the 3 of Austin Dillon, and got right back in line. Very well done.
And Keselowski was looking and hearing from his spotter. He's going to say one outside, one outside. Well, one outside is gone, because that's Eric Jones. Just displaying how good he is up on that highest groove. In behind Corey LaJoie. LaJoie caught up in that pit road chaos. And that lane just evaporated for Jones.
Spotters are now, they're wise to it. And so I'm sure the spotter on the 7 car let Corey LaJoie know. That's Stephen Parsons. Let him know. The 43 is making it 3 wide. You cannot give him the top.
This has been one of those races where your guess is as good as any's at who is going to come out on top here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. How good is this? 69 to go. Reminding you that you can download the official app of NASCAR and follow the action with free live scoring, in-car cameras and radio broadcast. Upgrade to premium for full access to driver audio channels and completely ad-free experience. Search NASCAR in your app store and download it now and start for a free trial as we welcome you back to the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs presented by Applebee's. What a treat we have had today. This race has been fast, frantic, plenty of moves, lots of different leaders. At the moment, it's Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace, but they are 14 and 15 laps different to when the others stop. So, and that will be a difference too as this plays out, as we take you inside the world of Joey Logano.
Leader is wide open here. Leader is wide open. Leaders are wide open. You're all clear. All clear. Yolen's clear behind you by half. Leaders are wide open. Dropping Yolen. Gap's 3 behind.
Well, we're not saving much, but we can't give up traction to nobody is.
So that was great information. You heard Coleman Presley, and there at the end was the crew chief of the 22, Paul Wolf. And he's looking at the data, says, well, we're not saving much or not saving enough, but no one is. You can tell by the pace, and that's the cat and mouse game right here with 61 to go. I don't think everyone's showing their cards. We hear it on the radio. Some are lap short, some are right on the number. I think that's all kind of a bunch of stories being told. I think the crew chiefs know what they have available, and most of them are probably feeling uncomfortable about it. But if you're the only guy saving gas, you're losing track position. So it's going to be interesting to see who decides to save gas more than the other with 61 to go.
Little side slap there at 180 miles an hour between William Byron and Kyle Busch. 60 to go. And let's show you how Bubba Wallace got to the front.
Great draft, just turns left. And then just simply is faster through the corner than Ty Gibbs. And then behind that, Todd Gilliland got in the wall pretty aggressively. He hadn't checked up though. He's still out there digging. Maybe not enough damage to hurt anything.
Eric Jones got a good view of that. It's been a pretty eventful day for the playoff drivers. All but 5 have had some form of issue, some more dramatic than others. But it's been a testy day for the playoff 16. Let's ride with one now. Here's Joey Logano. Christopher Bell immediately ahead. Martin Truex up on that right high side. Whoa, Chris Buescher did a great job there of hanging on to the Fastenal Ford. I feel like we haven't really spoken about Chris much today. Narrowly missed the playoffs. Doing his best here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Buescher's running in the 10 in 9th.
Oh, big move right here. Ty Gibbs had a huge push from the 1 car of Chastain. Pushed him right by Kyle Busch. It's getting racy, boys.
It sure is, and Chastain goes up right in front of William Byron. Byron's teammate Bowman down on that low side. Here goes Busch. He's been picking them off one at a time. He's on the better strategy, the preferred strategy compared to these two that he's racing, and he's disposed of Gibbs, and he just has Bubba Wallace to go before the 8's in the lead. Nobody has had a last 3 race streak like Kyle Busch. Yes, he hasn't won this season. He hasn't won in a while. It's been quite the winless drought. Yes, he didn't make the playoffs, but he is showing that this 8 Richard Childress Racing Team car has momentum. They've found their mojo, albeit with 13, 14 races to go in the season. It's not a championship run. We've got an issue here. Blaney, and then Truex is involved. 2 playoff drivers. Remember, I was telling you about all the playoff drivers who had issues. Add 2 more to it.
I think it's fortunate that that's all that happened in that. That could have been huge.
And Chris Buescher, we were just talking about him earlier. Harrison Burton up high. Noah Gragson's in there.
Yeah, that's behind the accident.
That's Shane Van Gisbergen in the wall, and Haley.
Yeah, that's behind the accident. They were all slowing down. Here's the accident.
The 12 of Blaney, the 17 of Buescher side by side. Oh, the 17 gets loose, comes right up the racetrack, catches the 12 of Blaney right in the left rear. The 12 comes down and catches the 19.
A little bit like we saw with Kyle Larson, where when he got loose, he overcorrected. And honestly, he got saved by that car being on the outside of him. If he hadn't hit that car, he would have, watch this. So Blaney's on the outside, gets loose. That slowed him down and made it so the back of the car hit the wall. That was a fortunate break for Buescher.
Blaney was riding along. Watch this. He thinks everything's fine, and then all of a sudden,
Not fortunate for him.
Yes.
But, you know, and Truex behind it, he got caught up in it.
One of the big winners in this is, look down to the left, Suarez. He avoids it, ducks through down on that low side. Choom.
Yeah, the
20 zooms on by.
20 of Bell as well, to your point, Diff, right? Look at the 12 right here. Look at the 20 of Christopher Bell. They're banging in front of him, and he kind of sneaks by.
How was that?
Logano as well.
Yeah.
How was that not a bigger wreck? I mean, that was very fortunate. That wasn't a big one that took out about 10 or 12 cars.
Yeah, I think Chris Buescher has the most damage, although he was the cause of the accident. Take a look from Logano. He's going to sneak by on the flat. Watch this. And bang, he gets back at the gas.
Buescher's driven his car to the garage, so his day is done. That's a big contact right there with Truex. You have to wonder if there's any damage on the right front. He hit him square in the wheel, it looked like.
It's not the question for me is there any damage? It's how severe it is, because I agree with you. There has to be damage as hard as he hit. You see right here, like the hood doesn't fit anymore, right? That's that hood vent. That should seal all the way around it. It's not, which tells me that there's some sort of shift or wrinkle in the bodywork. You would think they would want to tape that down. The steel of that hood, very important.
Hey, if there's no major damage on that net wizard Ford of Ryan Blaney, that's a miracle. That's magic.
Well, look where he got hit, right in the middle. Right in the middle of the door, between the left side tires.
Be interested to see what he says about Jeff, how the car feels.
Well, they know who can fix it.
They got the right partner this week, that's for sure. But again, this story thread of the playoff drivers having some adversity here in Atlanta. Everybody predicted this to be a wild card race. In fact, the first of 3 wild card races in this first.
I would think that Blaney's car is fine. That door is full of foam between the roll bar and the outside of the door, an energy absorbing foam that in a massive impact, it just takes the G's out of it. And that gets in the door, but I don't think it did anything other than that, Steve. You can see some body damage, but I don't think any aero disadvantage by that.
I don't think there's a lot of damage, but with the Goodyear missing on the left rear tire, I think he might have to come to pit road.
All right, troubles for the playoff drivers. Let's start in the most harsh way with Kyle Larson. And then, as a result of this, Chase Briscoe had nowhere to go. Wrong time, wrong place. So that makes 2. Both drivers okay, by the way. Both out of their cars. Then Tyler Reddick on pit road. Boom. Carson Hocevar. Christopher Bell. You're about to see a big fire here on the 20. And this was a pit penalty. He had a fire earlier. Crazy pit road contact. It was wild. And playoff drivers seem to be in the middle of it. Chase Elliott right there. Christopher Bell. It has been an eventful day, and as Jeff said, very much in the same vein as Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher lost his RFK Racing Ford. That collected Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. So it has been eventful. While we've seen a lot of great high speed, fast moves, great racing today, those incidents have been costly for the playoff drivers.
They really have. 16 playoff drivers are bound to get in some issues. Pit road open. Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, as expected, they need fuel. And really what they hoped for, they pulled another maybe 10 or 15 cars to pit lane with them, Dave.
Ty Gibbs said the balance is good. I just need fuel, only no tires for the car. As for Bubba Wallace in the 23, he said, I can't do the things I just did. Car very edgy. I need some lateral security. So he's in the game. He said, I just need some lateral security. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires and fuel, Marty.
So Ryan Blaney said, we clobbered the right rear, we hit the left front, but miracle delivered. Yes, Diff, they are fine. Damage is only on the right rear. The wheel is still straight for Ryan Blaney. Jonathan Asler told him, hey, listen, I'm going to give you fuel and tires here. Race as hard as you want for the rest of the race, but they're going to fix up that right rear damage right now and leave him here on pit road a little bit longer. You also saw Christopher Bell come to pit road from the 12th position. They took on 4 tires. They were pretty short on fuel, so this gets them to where they need to be on that front.
This race has given us some incredible action. That was predicted prior to the start. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs from Atlanta, presented by Applebee's. 1 to go here in Atlanta in the Quaker State 400. As those up front, and Kyle Busch at the head of this field will make the choose of where he would like to begin this restart. It has been an eventful, most recent incident involving multiple cars. Kim, tell us about the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. What's the latest?
Yeah, they'll come down one more time, a third time. It'll be kind of their last shot to fix it. Martin did not realize how bad it was until after he drove off pit road the first time. He said it feels like it's towed out about a foot, really bad. I can barely make it around the apron. Here's what else he added.
I didn't realize it was this bad. Can't even steer it. We're screwed. It's shaking like crazy and not going anywhere.
So you heard him say, we're screwed. This team telling me they felt like they had to have a near perfect first round to advance to the next round, Marty. So disaster for the 19.
Kim, you saw Ryan Blaney flash by as well. Some final touch-ups here on the damage repair for Ryan Blaney. Jonathan Asser feels like the damage is pretty good, pretty buttoned up there for the 12. And we'll see if he can get back in the game here. He's had one of the best cars all day long, but he will start a long way back with 50 to go.
Well, here's the 19 who sits on pit road, and you see working on as the field enters turn 3, pace car getting ready to pull off. I would imagine this is going to be at least 1 lap down for Truex. So definitely an up and down day that's currently on the down for the 19 team.
All right. With a nice even 50 to go, it'll be 49 at the line. Lights are out on the pace car. Truex should get back out. He's released as the field is coming to green with Kyle Busch, a 2-time winner here in Cup Series competition at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's go back to racing. William Byron on his outside. Ross Chastain pushing Busch into turn 1 as they swamp Martin Truex. His day goes from bad to worse.
You mentioned the issues for the playoff drivers. Well, who is going to be on the other side? Diff, who's going to capitalize? Who's going to make this take the pressure off the rest of the round? Can it be William Byron or Chase Elliott or maybe Alex Bowman? Remember, a win and you advance.
Well, look, 3 Hendrick Chevys all together. William Byron, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. They lost their teammate Larson earlier in this race in stage 1. So they are playing, and they are playing with force, Jeff.
Yeah, with less than 50 to go, you can see Blaney trying, that's Cindric on the bottom trying to make it 3 wide. They're now 4 wide.
Gibbs
it's time
goes
to
high.
go. It is time to go. You got to get track position, and you got to get it now.
There's that 4 again. 4 wide with Reddick in there, LaJoie and Gilliland. Doesn't get any better than that here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Suarez goes high. He still feels like he's got a legitimate shot at getting 2 wins here in Atlanta in 2024. And how about Joey Logano? The 22 Auto Trader Ford sits there 3 wide with Gilliland and Suarez. And remember, Joey narrowly missed contact with Martin Truex when that incident happened that caused this most recent caution. He was one of the lucky ones. He and Suarez were 2 of the lucky ones to avoid contact. And there they are running at the front in the top 10 with a shot at a victory.
You see the playoff points. You get drivers in the points, they're in the playoffs. Look how close it is. Every position matters.
If you're a Kyle Busch fan, you've been waiting a long time to see your man drive to victory lane. 47 races is the extent of the winless drought. Can that be broken here today? Great comeback from Tyler Reddick. He's had several incidents today, and the 45 is hanging tough. Reddick runs in 10th, right alongside Austin Cindric.
I still have my eyes on Cindric. He was so dominant in that stage where he was able to get to the front. And I know it hasn't been flashy, but he's methodically worked his way up. On the outside of Cindric, 3 wide up top, Ty Gibbs has the freshest tires, and you just wonder if that or aggression, I'm not sure what is helping these moves, but they are impressive.
Give a shout out to Noah Gregson as well. The Stuart Haas Ford driver, just outside the top 10, running strong. He's in that same vicinity of Ty Gibbs. In the Overstock Ford, he's right in the middle at the moment. The pole man, McDowell, he's still got a shot. There's Gregson, right in between Austin Dillon and Austin Cindric.
And look how long they've run 3 wide this run. We have not seen this all day long. Drivers are just willing to take chances right now with 42 to go that they were not willing to take earlier.
Yeah, if you're a fan and you're wondering, do the cars drive better? Is that why they're 3 wide? No, the drivers are willing to take more risks because those laps are counting down.
There's a check and a trophy. That much closer to it. It's time to go.
You see the Team Penske teammates come together. That was a pretty, that was more than a push. That was a shove from Austin Cindric on Joey Logano.
And it's 3 wide at the mid-pack. It's sketchy back there. You can see the cars moving around a lot. Cindric jumped to the middle. He'd been right around the bottom. That bright yellow car, been right around the bottom. He decided to get to the middle of the racetrack. Whoa, they're stacking up.
Here goes Gibbs high. Look at the black car, the 54. In his first playoff appearance in just his 2nd season in Cup Series competition. Drives past Todd Gilliland. Right up with Chase Elliott. And now the Front Row Motorsports guys, they still stay together. Michael McDowell on the inside.
The blaster onboard camera for McDowell gives you such a great look at how much the cars move around. You see Reddick dive to the bottom, put Ty Gibbs 3 wide. Ty Gibbs, I appreciate a young driver with an opinion, and when he met with us this week, he said, listen, I don't love the racing in Atlanta. I know the fans do, but for me, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing some of the times. Maybe I don't know where to go. The only playoff driver who has 0 career wins, never won at the Cup Series, although he's found so much success at the Xfinity level. Can you imagine your first career win in the playoffs to advance to the next round?
Big push right there from Chase Elliott to the back of William Byron, trying to get alongside Kyle Busch. He's there.
Keep an eye on that 45 in Tyler Reddick. He told us earlier this week, in my previous 3 playoff performances and appearances, I've been somewhat self-destructive. And he said, I need to be maybe a little more cautious and conservative to play the long game. And unfortunately, the 19 of Truex comes back down pit road. This is a day that showed so much promise, and it all went away by nothing of his fault. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time when Chris Buescher lost his car. Let's get back to it. 37 to go, 36 this time by.
You mentioned days that just haven't worked out. Denny Hamlin, I have to question if this strategy going to pay off. Currently 14th, 9 below the cut line. He's not been in any issues. He just has barely been in the race. Here he is back there in 31st. He's been riding around, didn't want to engage with the pack. Well, here we are with 36 to go. This could pay off amazingly if we have a big accident, but he's missed out on stage points in both the first and the second stage. And you just wonder if this chaos can make it to the finish, if Hamlin will leave wondering what if.
There's no way this can make it to the finish. 35 to go. It would be shocking if that were to happen. The intensity inside of these race cars, Diff, with 35 to go, with everything on the line, with the playoffs, trying to win a race, it is through the roof. Your heart rate is just pounding, and every single lap that goes by, the heart rate gets even higher. You know as a driver what potentially is getting ready to happen.
This is awesome. This is awesome. Look at Joey Logano forcing his way right through the middle, alongside fellow playoff driver Daniel Suarez. He wants to win for Quaker State in his car. They're the naming rights sponsor of this event here in Atlanta, and go back-to-back wins here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What about the quiet confidence of Alex Bowman today? It's been super impressive in the 48. And he and William Byron and Chase Elliott are flying the Hendrick Motorsports flag.
I'm exhausted and I'm just watching. This is amazing job these drivers have done, but the clock's ticking.
I'll go back to what Michael McDowell told me last night. Just get me to the checkered flag. I've shown the speed, my teammates shown the speed. Front Row Motorsports and Ford. Think about the slow start to the year that Ford made and how they've come storming back. They went the first 12 races without a win. And then they've won 7 of the last 14. But it's a Chevy out front in the hands of Kyle Busch, a 2-time champion, a 2-time Atlanta winner. Can he break a 47 race winless streak? Hang on for a wild ride. Over 26 more laps here at the 1.5 mile Atlanta Motor Speedway that races like a super speedway and has given us super speedway spectacle this afternoon in the first race of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. The blaster Ford of Michael McDowell. Can he get some magic? The Daytona 500 winner. Can he go from pole to victory lane? He's up there mixing it up with Chase Elliott at the moment. 6 playoff drivers in the top 10. Bowman pushes his way through on the inside. Busch has been shuffled back. Ty Gibbs has made his way to the front.
And don't look now, Ryan Blaney, after being involved in the last accident, repairs. He's trying to work his way inside the top 15. 3 wide right there, tape all over the left side.
There's so much action, it's hard to know where to watch. I mean, every lap, every corner, the driver tries to make a move. Christopher Bell making it 3 wide into 3 there.
I like Ty Gibbs just continuing to take that upper lane and letting the car roll free. And it's worked all the way now to the front.
You know how the drivers, and Jeff, you know this firsthand, as a two-time winner in Darlington, the drivers tell you how exhausted they are after Darlington. I think they may be exhausted today.
Emotionally exhausted for sure. And then the banking at this racetrack, the G-forces the drivers are exposed to, it's extreme. But this emotionally is exhausting. Every single lap, every single move matters, and it's a millisecond when you have to make this decision. You don't get to be calculative. You got to make a decision out of instinct.
Only 0.2 of a mile longer than Darlington, but so much different. The characteristics of the track, it's so smooth, the 28-degree banking. Suarez told us earlier this week he burnt 3,300 calories during last week's Darlington race, the Southern 500. He said he was exhausted at the end of it. Well, let's see if he's got enough energy to race for the win, because he is there fighting for second with Kyle Busch. Remember, Busch was one of the trio that came to the line. First to third was separated by 7 thousandths of a second. It was Blaney, Busch, but it was Suarez who came out on top.
I'm sorry. Jeff, I was going to say, let's not forget with 22 laps to go, we have Ty Gibbs, who was last on pit road at 2:08, but the majority of the top 10 is trying to stretch this last tank. And with 9 yellow flags, you would assume it's good, but if we've learned anything this year with these close fuel races, you don't want to assume anything. So I think there's some drivers reading these radios that still have some concern. They're trying to manage this chaos and save a little gas.
77 starts for the 21-year-old who leads this race. Could this be Cup victory number 1? Here's Kim Kuhn. What you got, Kimmy?
Well, up and down pit road, teams being told that they still need to save a little bit before they go hard, including Joey Logano. They just came on the radio and said they need another 10 laps from him before he can really go all out, go hard at the end. So if you think it's picked up now, just wait another 10 laps or so.
Well, if Logano's been able to get all the way back up into the top 5 while he's saving gas, if they ever do open the thing up, I can't wait to see what kind of moves he can make.
Ricky Stenhouse has had a good day in that 47 Oscar Mayer machine. He's hanging in there, hanging tough in 8th. Keselowski had to fight hard earlier in this race in the opening stage. Brad's still got a chance for a good result. There he is on that low side. There's the 6. Let's talk more about this car leading the way with Dave Burns. Dave?
Well, Lee, think about what he's trying to do. The car's right behind him. They're all close on fuel. In fact, Kyle Busch was told when you restart in the lead, slow down the pace. You need to save fuel. So if you're Ty Gibbs, you've got 30 laps extra fuel. You want to pull this group. You want to make them run out of fuel.
Granddad watching on.
It's been interesting to me how the leader, he's able to sit out there pretty much all day, Steve, and the guys behind him side by side just don't seem to be able to make ground up on him. So how are they going to do it when the race gets to the end? I think you're going to have to see some drivers start dragging the brake a little bit, trying to get someone to their rear bumper to get a push.
Yeah, I think right now every time they try to check up to get a push, they just get passed. And if you're the third place car, I think your only chance to win is to try to push that guy to the lead and then pass him.
Ty Gibbs said, I'm so thrilled to make the playoffs, but there's been times this year we've been in really good positions and I've either made mistakes or things have happened. He said, I know in myself, as a championship winning driver, my first win in Cup isn't that far away. Maybe, just maybe, it could be today. Could be like Carl Edwards getting his first win here, or Kevin Harvick's emotional first victory back in 2001. Could it be this youngster's day?
Oh, tight 3 wide. Bowman got to the bottom, was able to make it 3 wide. The top of that 3 wide is the 12 of Blaney, who's continuing this recovery. Lost a little momentum there.
And Stenhouse went from one side to the other to tuck in behind Bowman. 15 to go.
Big move right here from McDowell, blocked.
Where? How? How can you find a way through? When do you make your move? Do you make the right decision at the right time? Chastain has been ever present for Trackhouse in that all blue car right in the middle.
The fans have got a show all day long.
There's been two extraordinary finishes in the last two races. Harrison Burton getting his first win, and the Wood Brothers 100th in Daytona. And then Chase Briscoe racing his way into the playoffs with a victory in Darlington last weekend. What's on tap? What's in store today over these closing 13 laps? Can Ty Gibbs do it?
Look at that experience lined up on the top of the racetrack. You got Logano, you have Chase Elliott up there, Blaney. Suarez now, though, he wants to defend that win from the spring.
And is it the first time that Daniel Suarez sees his machine ahead? Gibbs is not willing to relinquish that lead just yet.
Blaney with a big run through the middle. Now he's able to get to that top. Cleared the 9 of Chase Elliott, stacking up on the bottom a little bit. Chastain blocked the 12. Now the 20 of Bell on the outside of Chase Elliott.
What did we say right at the beginning of this race and this show? Joey Logano is a big-time, big-stage, big-pressure performer. And look where the 22 is. Right in contention for a playoff race victory with 11 to go.
Blaney switched to the bottom. He's now that car on the bottom with the white hood, 3 wide, losing momentum. It's going to push.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. It's yellow debris.
Whoa. Piece of signage on the track or something has brought out the caution with 11 to go. Where'd it come from? Oh, there it is, way up high on the fence.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And so now if you're a driver, you got to kind of catch your breath here a little bit, Steve. You know that this last restart is going to be the most aggressive racing you've ever done in your life. And you have to take a breath right now, gather your thoughts, and understand what you're getting ready to have to do. You're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. Put the car in places it doesn't really, it really shouldn't be. That's the only way you can win this race.
Well, the question I'm going to have is what kind of length run we have, because you know, it seems like it takes a couple, 3 laps for somebody back there in 4th or 5th to really get the momentum. The front 2 rows seem to push off the front pretty good.
AMR safety team, I can see it here out of the window of a booth. They've already got the sign, so that's been picked up, collected. Let's remind you of what happened earlier this year in February. Daniel Suarez closest to us, Kyle Busch in the middle, Ryan Blaney on the inside. Closest 3 wide finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. That's what 7/1000ths of a second looks like. And that was the moment Daniel Suarez guaranteed himself a spot in the playoffs. And that's what began a pretty special year for Suarez, who got married, became a US citizen. He won in NASCAR Brazil competition. It's been an awesome year for him. And it could get even more special if he can drive to victory lane again, as we are going to have just a thriller of a finish to this Quaker State 400.
If we hear a lot of drivers on drafting style racetracks say they're afraid to be leading on the last lap because they're afraid they're going to be passed with forward momentum coming from behind. I don't think you can think like that. I think you have to assume the caution is going to come out with less than 1 to go, and that means the race is over. Because so many times these races end up with a caution. So if I have a chance at all to be leading this race, I am not laying back thinking I'm afraid to be leading. They're going to gang up on me and take the lead. I'm going to make them have to take that away from me.
Some diving for pit road to make sure they're ready to go for this final sprint to the finish. Best on fuel by a long shot of the front runners is Ty Gibbs. And then you look to others like Ryan Blaney, also in good shape. Christopher Bell in good shape. So how is this going to shake out, and how hard can those guys on less fuel, how hard can they go here? And what will this last, Stevie, to your point, what will this last run be once we go back to green? How long will it be?
And how many will we see, right? Well, now that we have it kind of a restart, if we get a streak of yellows.
What you got, Dave?
Well, Lee, I want to go back to a conversation I had with Chris Gale, crew chief, this morning. We just have to finish. Well, how about finishing first?
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Right? That'd alleviate a lot of problems for the next couple of weeks or concerns. Really had a strong car all day, right? Come from the back, move forward all day, led laps, got stage points in both stages, which, you know, starting in the back, we weren't sure we were going to be able to do that. So got more fuel than most up front, too, so feel good about that. So really just executing the blocks here up front, and let's avoid a late race wreck. And even if we can't win, let's get all the points we can to make it easier for the next 2 weeks.
I don't see teammates up there. I see Bell back there and Nate. I mean, it seems like he's doing it all on his own.
Yeah, I think, right, we knew that some of those guys were saving. There were 10 cars up front that were saving fuel, right? And we knew we didn't have to. So he was making it 3 wide there, going hard, while those guys were saving fuel and able to get back to the front. And I think that was the difference.
All right, good luck.
Thanks to Chris for speaking to us, and a little bit of proactive work here to make sure this doesn't happen again, so we can race cleanly to the finish without any further odd interruptions. All right, DJ, Kyle, what do you reckon? What do you think? And are you ready?
and that's the question. I'm going to say this. We've both won races, but you've won big races. You've won Daytona, the Daytona 500, Indianapolis. Where are you inside that car right now? There's a lot on the line today.
Yeah, there is, and you're making a plan. You know, that plan may have to go out the window depending on what's going on in front of you. If you're leading the race, you're going to drive this by the mirror and block all that you possibly can. Everybody's going to have it to the floor, and it's whoever can keep it there the longest and make the right moves here. Blaney's been impressive coming up through here and making things happen. But I don't know if anybody can handle Ty Gibbs right now. If somebody gets on his bumper, I think he has the fastest car. I will tell you one thing here, guys. It's been pretty cool to watch when Kyle Busch is up battling for the lead, the amount of people that are standing cheering, trying to urge Kyle Busch on to get that win.
Trying to get that 20 years in a row. Could it be today?
So, plenty of contenders like the 22 of Joey Logano, right, Kim?
That's right, and he's won on this configuration of Atlanta. So Logano currently 8th. Crew Chief Paul Wolf, what are you telling your driver for this restart?
Well, obviously, we've had to be patient all day. A track position is tough to get, just like anywhere we go. And we get into the fuel game of topping off or not. And he's done a good job saving fuel, so we're in a good fuel situation here now. Tires have cooled off. The turn 1 and 2 shaded up now, so there's going to be a lot of grip. So everyone's going to be going hard, and just hope we can come out on top.
Sounds like an exciting finish in store.
Sure is. So just looking out our window, everything looks pretty clean and clear. Lights are still on the pace car, so we're going to do at least one more before we can race.
We should be coming to choose right here, right? Coming to 1 to go, so be 5 to go when we take the green. All right, Jeff, where do you go? Who do you line up with? Who do you trust?
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't trust anybody, and, you know, nor should I. So if you're Suarez, he went to the top. Gibbs and Busch both went to the bottom. So when you're lined up, Suarez, he didn't know who was going to pick behind him. He didn't know who was going to be able to push him. Really, the decision is made behind you. As soon as, you know, you knew Gibbs was going to go to the bottom if Suarez went to the top. But then Kyle Busch feels more comfortable either on the bottom or pushing Ty Gibbs than he does Daniel Suarez on the top.
Keep in mind that when we had the caution for Chris Buescher, losing it, hitting the wall, ricocheting back out, and colliding with not only Martin Truex Jr. but Ryan Blaney, the 12 team did an awesome job to get Blaney's car back ready to go. He is in the mix. Suarez had that close call, and so too did Joey Logano. All three of those guys are close enough at the front to have a chance, and if they don't win, they're going to get awesome points for their playoff campaign. So much of this goes with luck. There is the man behind the name, RCR, Richard Childress Racing. There is Richard, as he's watching one of his drivers with a shot at victory, Kyle Busch in the 8. There he is on the low side, second row. Lights are off on the pace car. Ready to go. It will be a 5-lap sprint to determine who wins this Quaker State 400. Are you ready? Who's going to have it?
Ready.
Wow. Did Suarez go too early? As he takes off. Ty Gibbs. Good stuff. He forces his way through. Chris Gale told us they're the best on fuel, and he is on the gas hard. But here comes Suarez being pushed by Logano. Now Suarez to the low side. The winner earlier in the year here in Atlanta feels he's got another good chance. Gibbs comes back. Busch goes on the low side. Watch the 8. 3 wide. Across the line with 4 to go.
I think Gibbs likes 3 wide behind him. No run should be able to formulate out of that 3 wide. How long can they survive 3 wide, though, without a yellow?
Ty Gibbs blocking on the top, trying to kind of air block it a little bit. Logano with a big run on the outside, and Suarez.
Suarez puts himself in the middle. Joey's up high. Here they come. The challengers are coming to the youngster. 3 to go from here. This could be anyone's. And Blaney now puts himself in the mix, trying to help his teammate up on that high line. Can you imagine if Daniel Suarez wins another thriller? Chastain's in the mix in the 1. Ty Gibbs has been shuffled back to 5th. Almost a side slap there between Logano and Suarez. Here comes Blaney. Boom. Big hit. Chastain's helping his teammate. And there's a caution. Caution is out. And it's Noah Gragson. We're going to go into a little bit of overtime here in Atlanta. Almost got there, Jeff.
It just is so aggressive. There's just no way they can be that aggressive and someone not make contact.
It's so much different than what we've seen at Daytona and Talladega. I made the comment that 3 wide behind wasn't going to give a run, and instead it went to 3 wide for the lead. As you see what happens, there's a stack up. Looks like the 21 of Harrison Burton got into Cindric and then came down, got the 10, pitched the 10 of Noah Gragson around right here. That's just kind of beating and banging. And Noah gets the worst end of the deal. But as I was saying, that's a run that you wouldn't see at Daytona and Talladega. You would, but it may take 2 miles.
Yeah.
Here in Atlanta, a 1/4 mile. I mean, these cars go from slowing down to speeding up just so quickly.
Yeah, watch Harrison Burton. He's in the side of the 2 car. He's got the 2 car jacked up. He makes contact with the wall almost, and then Harrison comes down and gets into the right rear quarter panel of the 10 car.
We're that close to the white flag. You see, though, big hit into the inside wall. Too bad Noah's been running pretty decent. You see another car up against the wall in the back. I think that's Eric Jones in that green and white 43 car.
That's just nobody willing to lift, right? Coming
right?
to the end of the race.
So the AMR safety team right on the scene, helping and cleaning up so we can get ready to go to reset for overtime.
And all those drivers with 83, 82, I know they've had yellows. We're working the 16th lap of yellow in this run, but you know, now we're in overtime. We're past the extended distance of the race. So Blaney is the farthest up with the most fuel. You hear Joey Logano shutting it off. He's going to reach over, shut it off again.
There's Noah Gragson. His teammate had a hard hit early in stage 1. And now another Stuart Haas Ford driver out of this race, but late at opposite ends of the race. So the stage 1 winner, Ryan Blaney, is the best on fuel. And the irony of that dent wizard Ford being pretty dented and beaten up. Look at it. It's a patchwork quilt, but it may be good enough, Dave, to go to victory lane.
And I'm up here with all the Dent Wizard folks. They're watching their dented car be very fast yet. Looks like he has enough fuel, so what does your driver need to do, Jonathan?
Yeah, we definitely have enough fuel, you know, more than the guys around us, so we just need to be, you know, cautiously aggressive. You know, big picture, we just need to get out here with a good finish, but obviously we'd love to win as well.
And here at Atlanta, it has been tough all day, as expected. The beating and banging, how has he gotten through that, and is that car as sound as it kind of looks?
Yeah, I give 12 group credit. They got us fixed up pretty well in that last stop. They're able to drive through the field pretty well, so I think we're in good shape.
All right, little work left to do with a car that's been banged up, Lee.
Going to be quite the story, isn't it?
He talks about wanting to get out of here with a good finish. A great finish moves you on in the next round of the playoffs. So I think you have to remain aggressive, and I don't think that Ryan Blaney knows any other way but to be aggressive.
I agree, and I think what you hear in the crew chief's voice is 31 cars in the lead lap.
Yeah.
So what he knows is, as much as he wants to win, and everything you said, Jeff, I completely agree. A win takes all the pressure off. The wrong move heading down the backstretch that you don't come back from, and you can literally give up 30 points in one lap.
3 playoff drivers in good positions to win. And look at this. One of the many fans of Daniel Suarez. He's such an endearing character with this special design of his car that he had a hand in for his sponsor for this race. How about the 22 of Joey Logano, Kim?
Well, you guys were just talking about not wanting to make the wrong move. You also don't want to make the wrong lane choice on the choose. Here's the conversation from the 22.
And all my pre-race notes said bottom. 99 took the top right there and essentially lost the lead, right?
All right, 10-4, we'll do that.
All right, Steve, so do you agree with Coleman Presley, the spotter's assessment, and what he told his driver?
I do. I think the bottom is the place to go. I think the push has a lot to do with it. And like you said, Jeff, who's going to line up behind you? I think if Logano could get a perfect world, he could get Blaney behind him.
Yeah.
Because then I think back to the point about a win versus the points, I think Blaney would at least wait until off turn 4 to try to settle it. Now, if he has a chance to make a run, he's absolutely going to pull out a line. But I think Logano could think at least from the start-finish into 1, Blaney might be a little more committed than another car. The way this front stretch works, you know, it's really easy to kind of turn left and take that leader 3 wide. So Joey knows that as well as anybody, as one of the most aggressive restarters around. So he's going to have to really chase that white and red line.
Well, the other thing is, you know, with your teammate behind you, maybe a little communication and some coordination so that the push comes at the right time. If Logano leaves too early and the 12 isn't on his rear bumper and the outside lane is formed, the 99 will go by the 22. So how these guys push matter, and the leader can control that. He has a great deal to do with keeping that front bumper locked up to his rear bumper.
And when you just look at the running order and look at all the playoff drivers, right? So Logano, Suarez, Blaney, first, second, third, Elliott and Bell, 5th, 6th, Bowman and Gibbs, 8th and 9th. A chunk of them back there outside the top 10 with Reddick, Byron, Cindric, and Harrison Burton continuing to have a great day. Hamlin, the ride-around theory has got him up to 22nd. We'll see how this green-white checker treats him.
Logano has won here. Suarez has won here. Blaney has won here. And it's going to form up that the teammates will be on the same line. So Blaney can push Logano.
So Jeff, at this point, I imagine we're going to see the very standard left hand out the window from Joey Logano. They can't see it on the outside lane, kind of give Blaney the hand signal. He wants Blaney to go maybe a split second first. Is that the idea? Get to your bumper and then you accelerate?
That's exactly right. You want him to touch you and then you accelerate. That way he can stay locked up to you. Remember the rule, when the leader gets to the beginning of the restart zone, he can go, but he doesn't have to go right then. He has the entire restart zone to go. So Joey Logano He's one of the best in the business at understanding how to restart. He wants to surprise Daniel Suarez and get a good launch, but he doesn't want to make it so good that he separates himself from Blaney. This not always, Lee, just about, you know, jumping in the gas as fast as you can. You have to have a plan. If you do it right, you can win this race.
Well, this race could have finished about 50 laps ago and we would have been happy with a great race.
It's been unbelievable.
It's been unbelievable, but now it's going to give us even more. With an overtime green-white checker finish. And this overtime presented by Credit One Bank. Get ready for it. Listen to the crowd. They know that they're about to see something special, but just how special will it be? Let's go back to racing to finish this one off. Logano and Suarez. How big is that push from Blaney for his Team Penske teammate? And then the Trackhouse boys are working together. Chastain is pushing Suarez. Don't take your eyes off the 20 of Christopher Bell either. First of the Hendrick Chevys is the 48 of Alex Bowman. Logano ahead. Suarez fighting back. Here they come to the white flag. Logano gets another little shove from Ryan Blaney. And the two Penske's clear Suarez. But Daniel's not giving up. It's Joey Logano clearly out in front. But is there a late run? Remember how this finished. Chastain into the wall, but he's able to keep it going. Has Suarez got something special like he did in February? They're crashing into the wall. Porsche comes out of the checker. They're flying everywhere and Hamlin is involved. Joey Logano prevails in this first playoff race.
That's how we start the playoff, boys! Yeah!
His crew chief, Paul Wolf, told us he's a big-time, big-pressure racer, and he delivers.
Hell of a job there, Joe.
21, a playoff car involved. The 11 of Hamlin, another playoff car involved in the wreck.
Yeah, the 11 rode around all day, got no stage points, ended up finishing 24th. He's going to come out of here 2 points to the good in the playoff battle.
Bubba Wallace also involved.
What an overtime by the Penske pair. They got a great start. I thought they had a little wheel spin right away, but they stayed organized. And then a big run into turn 3, but it was the commitment from Ryan Blaney to Joey Logano. That final push, you called it, Diff, into turn 1 was the difference maker for the 22 car.
Just think how close it was for this Auto Trader Ford and Joey Logano missing the collision with Buescher and Truex and Blaney. He ducked up the inside, and as Harrison Burton tries to get going, this is how it all went down, coming to the checkered flag. That was the Chastain hit, first of all, but watch further back.
Well, it continues on with Chastain. Right there, there's contact, and this is where they all get stacked up. Nowhere to go. So I think this is a push gone wrong with the 1.
Yeah, the 9 kind of got caught from whoever was behind him. As you pointed out, pushes kind of stacked up, and then the 47's pushing the 23, who gets turned around, and then the 11 gets into, I mean, it's just chaos back there, everybody in the gas.
That's what starts it all.
Wow. And so the day just didn't go the way that the 11 had hoped, but it certainly went the way that the 22 team of Team Penske hoped.
It's working. I'll take all of them. How's that sound?
Joey Logano, in his 11th playoffs appearance, wins at Atlanta Motor Speedway and heads to the Glen with strength. left that chaotic finish behind. We're waiting on confirmation, but we believe it is indeed Suarez and Blaney who followed Joey home. It's Logano's moment here in the Peach State. Do you know, in his early days, he lived in those condos off to the right when he was racing Bandoleros and Legends. And now he's victorious here again.
If you mentioned it, Joey Logano ran Legends cars and Bandoleros at this racetrack forever. And this race team continues to deliver when it counts in the playoffs. What is it about this team, Joey, that you guys can step up and make a difference in the playoffs?
Oh, man, just incredible execution from the team. You know, it's when it's playoff time, it's our time. That's what I said. We got to always level up when it comes to playoff time. And they gave me a great Auto Trader Mustang. She was fast all day. We kind of got stuck in the back a little bit. It was hard to get track position back. We had a good restart and got towards the front and had my teammate Blaney behind me. It really helped out in that last lap to be able to make sure a Penske car won and ultimately move on to the next round. So good day for all the Penske cars. I think they got a lot of stage points as well. So pretty good day today. This is Auto Trader's home here in Atlanta. Coca-Cola's home in Atlanta. A lot of people here. It's important for us to run good at this track. So. And there's a lot of memories right here on this start-finish line for me racing Legends cars as a kid. So this is a really cool feeling to be out here in the Cup car again.
I was going to say, for a kid who ran Thursday Night Thunder for years here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway on the quarter-mile track, how much does a win, much less at Atlanta, period, but in the playoffs mean to you personally?
It's always special, but here, I mean, I lived right there. 805 for about 6 years, so it was a lot of time looking at this racetrack, dreaming about going down into turn one. So I can't thank the team enough. Like I said, everyone at Penske, Roush Yates Engines. Hello to my kids and wife at home. I wish they were down here, but it was definitely a special week coming here before we got here. I got to see one of the squadrons that's getting deployed here soon, and we got to spend a lot of time with them before we got here. So it's a heck of a way to top it all off.
Yeah, Paul Wolfe said, I can't take much more of these fuel mileage races. So how intense was this race today, much less the end of it?
I mean, I'll take all of them. It's working for us. Bring it on.
All right, welcome to the round of 12. Joey Logano with the win here in Atlanta.
And there's those condos that Joey was talking about where he lived when he was a young guy, dreaming of moments like this. A win here last year and a win here in 2024. And like Marty said, locks himself into the round of 12. Chaos behind him. All he could see was a checkered flag. Joey Logano wins the Quaker State 400 and starts the playoffs in the best possible way. Good comments, a little bit of good luck, dodging that collision, good strategy, and he had the speed at the end. Logano victorious. We've got more on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.